Never a doubt that it's going to be a packed house at Princess Auto Stadium after watching week number 1. The Blue Bombers ready to kick off their 2025 campaign, hoping they will be right back here in 5 months' time for the 112th Grey Cup. The Bombers welcoming the impressive-looking Lions to town to kick off week number 2.
Career CFL start. He is the man tonight. It is Chris Stregler for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers quarterback tonight. We will see how much juice he's got tonight.
Last week, it was a great performance from Nathan Rourke to start off the season. We might have got a bit excited about his season and what he could possibly accomplish. Hostile environment. Let's see what Nathan does tonight.
I'm excited about this guy. I'll tell you what. Brady Oliveira, 1,300 yards last year. Almost 100 yards per game, led the CFL big plays, most outstanding Canadian and most outstanding player.
You want another dominant Canadian, Lapo? I have one for you. Here he is, Matthew Betts, a CFL leading 10 quarterback pressures last week. That was more pressures, 3 of them to be exact, than any other player in week number 1. He had 6 tackles. He had 1 tackle for a loss. He was absolutely sensational. And if you can tell, the panel is slightly fired up for week number 2 in the CFL. Gabe Burness alongside Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, Paul Lapolis. We were on the road last week, and tonight, a new set for Thursday night football. The presents just keep coming, and this looks fabulous.
I don't know if I like it, unless I can do a coach's playbook here.
Go home, Lapo. We love it. We love it, don't we?
We love it.
I look absolutely tiny compared to you right now.
I'm ready to go.
I asked for Ches beside me. I don't know how this happened, but I also asked for one Britt Dorton. Here she is from Winnipeg.
Thanks so much.
We know that this is an exciting night for Winnipeg and for their fan base as well. It's going to be a packed house, but on the flip side, Nathan Rourke has never beat this team, so you know it's absolutely important to him as well.
Thanks so much, Kate. Definitely going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in this Bombers season opener. Definitely a different look for Winnipeg tonight with the fact that Zach Collaros will not be at the helm. Of course, he is serving that 1-game suspension for failing to respond to an off-season drug test request. So, of course, that means Chris Stregler's in. Now, he only had 1 start last year, and he actually didn't even finish the season after completely tearing every muscle, basically, in his knee during the Banjo Bowl last year. So you can imagine the rehab process he has gone through just to get back to this point, and he expressed immense gratitude just to be here tonight. Now, he did have the confidence of using that training camp and preseason game because he knew he was going to be the starter as the news about Collaros broke early in May. So he's had a lot of time. He said that's helped his confidence. Now, Nathan Rourke probably feeling a little confident as well after his week 1 performance, throwing for 324 yards, 3 touchdowns in that victory over the Elks. But here's the kicker. We all talked about it. He hasn't beat the Bombers before. What a crazy stat that is. So when I asked him about getting the win for Buck Pierce, his head coach, who's coming in after spending a decade coaching here in Winnipeg, he said, Brett, I have my own things I got to figure out. I got to win over Winnipeg here tonight. But if I do it for, Buck Pierce as well, that'll make it a little bit sweeter. Of course, Kate, I did ask Buck, is it going to be weird to run out of the other tunnel, stand on the other sideline tonight? He said, for the first little bit, yeah. But the good news is I do know every square inch of the turf in this stadium.
That has to be an absolute advantage. We will get back to Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions in just a moment, but let's chat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We spoke about this in the preview show, and to be quite honest, we speak about this each and every year when it comes to the Bombers. Are they too old? Can they make it to the Grey Cup? They keep proving us wrong, and Lapo, as we were saying in SportsCenter today too, you've still got Zach Collaros, albeit not tonight as he is suspended for the 1 game. You still have a guy like Brady Oliveira. You got Mike O'Shea. You have Willie Jefferson. You still have the core. So we can't doubt them, can we?
Yeah, I don't understand the people saying, oh, the Bombers, not this year. They have the #1 defense in the Canadian Football League, and they have it in a number of areas. Offensive points, passing yards, completion percentage, they do it all. They stop people from getting first downs. touchdowns. Now, here's an interesting point. Last year, there were all those injuries. Remember that guy, Willie Jefferson? He was coaching a bunch of young defensive linemen last year, Enoch, with all those injuries. James Vaughters comes over from Calgary, fifth-year veteran. I've heard great things about him in camp, and he did so many good things. They got Wilson, Jones, Cramdy back in the linebacker crew. The secondary's back. They lost one or two guys. This is going to be a defense that they can rely on to keep the ball out of people's hands.
Look, it's quite clear what the goal was in the offseason. Is get a pass rusher. They went out and paid James Vaughters, who you mentioned. And if you look at their defensive coordinator, Jordan Younger, he's excellent on work with the back end. His back sevens and what he does back there are as good as anybody. Now, I expect them to play rush 4. That's what getting Vaughters does. You pair him with Willie. You rush 4, and then you also have now Jamal Parker back there as safety, who now is a cover guy who can play safety. That just gives them a lot of flexibility and tools to play with back there. This defense is going to go off of what those two guys up front do and then allow the back end and JY to play off that.
Well, the defense is going to do what they need to do, I think, tonight. But I'm interested to see how this offense is going to operate without their main guy, without Zach Collaros. So obviously, you have Brady Oliveira in the backfield, which is always good. But how are they going to be able to score points?
Without their main guy, their OC, their best receiver,
That's
and
right.
Lawler.
But you got to put points up. You got to put points up with this BC Lions team because Nathan Rourke is he's going to be looking for.
Well, you know, and that's what we said too. And this is the thing for Nathan Rourke tonight. I mean, phenomenal first week. So let's overreact right now. Give him everything. Give him MOP. Give him outstanding Canadian. Let's put the BC Lions in the Grey Cup. But in all seriousness, we were waiting for Rourke this season to see what he looked like having a full training camp under his belt. And he was sensational. But this is the one Achilles so far. His return to the CFL came last August against the Blue Bombers. Rourke completed only 8 of 25 pass attempts after an impressive display last week against the Elks. He looks to flip the script and earn the first win against the Bombers tonight. Brick mentioned these stats: 324, 3 TDs. I love the 54 rushing yards as well. I mean, we spoke about the Winnipeg pass rush, and we know that they want to get to him. I thought the O-line even looked a little bit better for BC than we expected, but he needs this victory tonight, doesn't he, Enoch?
Well, look, he's looking exactly like he looked back in 2022, and that is scary for the rest of the league. He was accurate, he was efficient last week, and he was Mr. Generous. Nathan Rourke, and I love that about him because he didn't even utilize the most dangerous person based off of last year's performance in Justin McInnes. You got Barry Hill, who had over 100 yards. He played tremendously over there. They have James Butler that they got involved as well last week. Guys, I'm excited to see what this team is going to do against this defense that you guys have been hyping up already.
Speaking of the BC defense, you mentioned Winnipeg's defense. We talked about them. They've been great. Matthew Betts last week. I love what Coach Benny did with Betts. Giving Betts a two-way go. And he went back and you watched the film. They allowed Betts to make inside moves, to obviously use his speed on the outside.
That's
and
the
that
best thing to do with that guy.
Absolutely. Now that had the offensive tackles for Edmonton didn't know what to do. And that was the key for BC. Matthew Betts, and we'll see what happens tonight. I'm certain they'll keep an extra guy in to block because Betts disrupted. We talked about Trey and Edmonton's offense, but all of that, or a bunch of that, came off what you saw from Matthew Betts off the edge.
I think all the Nathan Rourke talk, let's not forget, you mentioned it, James Butler. He had 3 runs over 10 yards. He was 6.8 yards per carry. If they get the run game going, that's going to make Nathan Rourke so much better as a quarterback. Hey, I think everyone's talking about Barry Hill's nice 37-yard touchdown. There was nobody in the secondary. Why? Because they're all at the line of scrimmage, because it was a hard play action. The run game was working, opens up those throws, and Nathan can be accurate downfield. So really good job establishing the run.
You're going to stop touching me.
I know, we're like this.
Touching my hands. You're going to stop touching me now, folks.
We're good over here. You guys should come over to this side of the panel. We really have this all figured out, even though I do look like Slim Fit tonight. Clearly last Friday. Well, there he is, Barry Hill. Phenomenal first game. 105 receiving yards, 2 TDs. Let's see what he has in store tonight.
For Nathan Rourke, can he get back to that same form from the 2022 season?
Deep long touchdown, BC Lions. And he's thrown his first touchdown pass in 2025. Play action fake, deep long touchdown, Barry Hill again. Now in a 3-man rush with time, end zone, touchdown, Justin McInnes. Just about everything Nathan Rourke and that Lions offense has done in this second half has turned to gold.
The Canadian Football Hall of Fame 7 new members today, including 5 players and 2 builders. One of those players elected was wide receiver Jermaine Copeland. Copeland played 168 games in the CFL over 11 seasons with Montreal, Calgary, and Toronto. He is one of only 18 players to reach the 10,000-yard receiving mark. Now, also going in amongst the players, it is offensive lineman Brian Chew. The Vancouver native spent his entire 13-year CFL career with Montreal, capturing 2 Grey Cup titles along the way. Chew, who is currently the head coach at Vancouver College, was speaking to his students when he got the news.
What the hell is this? See ya. What is this?
You've never stopped giving back to the game. You've inspired us and so many others with your leadership, dedication, and passion. So today, it's our turn to give something back to you, Coach. It's our honor to let you know that you're being inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame.
How good is that? That is so good. When I saw that today, it gave me goosebumps. Canadian Football Hall of Famers for 2025. Here you go. So joining Brian, it is Javon Olafioye. Jermaine Copeland, as mentioned, defensive back Scott Fagel, linebacker Daryl Hall will be elected in the players category, while Glenn Johnson and Frank McChrystal will enter as builders. The induction ceremony will take place in Hamilton on the evening of Friday, September the 19th. From the new class of Hall of Famers to a future Hall of Famer.
Welcome back to the Brady Oliveira show on TSN. And he busts a big one, stays on his feet. He's going to rumble down. And he is fired up now. Oh, you're in trouble.
This is bully ball. This is how they win games.
Brady Oliveira, touchdown! Oh, what a run after the catch!
And the George Reed Most Outstanding Player.
I am surrounded by a first-class organization in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This is not an individual award, but this is a team award.
We know there is added pressure on a team when they're hosting the Grey Cup, but add in the fact that that's your hometown, and that is a different level of expectation. Brady Oliveira is well aware of the opportunity he has in front of him, but when I sat down with him recently, he not only expressed how much he wanted to win it individually, but how much he wanted to win it all for the people around him.
In a heartbeat, like a simple answer. Take those awards from me and let me win more Grey Cups.
Look at this. Brady Oliveira, a big one, broke a few tackles, and they finally track him down.
Most outstanding player in the CFL in 2024.
I must ask, the hair. Is this just a maturity thing? Like, what has happened here?
So I was going back and forth with the idea probably the last 2 years, being like, should I cut my hair? I never had it in me. I was like, this is my look. I've had almost long hair for almost 10 years. And I was like, I can't picture myself with short hair. It was very kind of spontaneous. I think it was the day of. I'm like, you know what? I got a haircut today, let's cut it. And ever since then, I'll never have long hair again because the short hair life is so much better.
Yeah, try this.
Yeah, not for me.
Since 2022, you've been going to Bali.
Yes.
Every year you've ran for over 1,000 yards, so it's clearly working in some capacity here. But this off-season, I read that you were doing hypoxic training.
Yeah, so hypoxic training is pretty much playing with your CO2 levels and your lung capacity. So we do 30 minutes on land of breath work, and then now we're in the water, and that's when the hypoxic training starts, is when you're under pressure in the water. You might be compromised from doing exercises on land first, push-ups, jumping jacks, dumbbell snatches, whatever it is, jump right in the water. Farmer's walk there and back under the water with 20 kg dumbbells, swimming with dumbbells, ammo swims, jumps, whatever it is. There was lots of things that he was adding into my training regimens, and he wanted to make it very explosive and fast to kind of replicate the game of football. I actually found time to actually reflect on my seasons, my off-season, self-talk, visualization, and what popped up in my head lots was Grey Cups, the Grey Cup losses, and then self-talk on who do you want to be, how do you want to be remembered.
Back-to-back Winnipeg Grey Cup champions 2021.
When you thought about those Grey Cups, you are a Grey Cup champion. Mm-hmm. But not as a starter.
Yeah.
How much does that weigh on you?
Yeah, I need to I just want another Grey Cup back for Winnipeg, for the amazing fans, the province, for the guys that haven't got to experience it. You know, guys that popped in my head, like my running back coach, now offensive coordinator, Jason Hogan, who I thought was going to happen last year for a chance for him to feel that victory. He still hasn't, and that guy deserves it. A guy like Dalton Schoen, who has been with us ever since he started losing these Grey Cups, and he hasn't been able to be on the side of feeling a victory. And I've been fortunate to feel, you know, 2 of those, and it's the most amazing feeling in the world. But then there's another side of it where, did I really contribute? And of course, guys will say, yes, of course you did. You played in those games. You helped us win. But like, I want to win as the guy. I want to bring one back to the city as, you know, the starting running back for this great organization. So there's still lots of work to be done, and I need to make sure I get one of those before I call it quits. But I got a lot left in me. I got a lot of gas left in the tank, so I hopefully got a lot more years at this.
Well, and even statistically last year, I mean, it was incredible. And you ended up being the top Canadian. You ended up being the MOP. Would you give it up for that Grey Cup?
100% in a heartbeat. I would give up all the awards, MOP, MOCs, the All-Stars. Like, I would give all that away to be hoisting that trophy, to bring that trophy downtown in Winnipeg, to bring it home to my family, like, to give the opportunity for the guys that haven't won to experience that, for them to bring the Grey Cup home. Like, that's what I want. That's who I want it for.
So Brady Oliveira was just the 4th Canadian in CFL history to win MOP. He joined John Cornish, also the last running back to win, Tony Gabriel and Russ Jackson, the Winnipeg native. Also the 6th player to win back-to-back Most Outstanding Canadian awards. Well, it's time to get your bets in because this FanDuel parlay looks nice tonight. You guys put some effort into this. New set, a lot more effort. I like it. Enoch, where are you going in this
I'm going to go with the forgotten man, Nick Dembski. This guy always gets forgotten when you talk about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You mentioned Brady O, you mentioned Willie Jefferson, Zach Collaros, and you used to talk about Kenny Lawler. But Nick Dembski is going to have a big night tonight, and he's going to have for 40-plus yards tonight.
All right, so this one, I just saw this one a few hours ago, so grab this one quick. I like this. Is the Dembski receptions over 3.5 receptions? That's not my play. My play is Nathan Rourke to score a touchdown. They struggled with short yardage last week. Nathan Rourke will be the short yardage guy, I assume. But that's another one I like is Dembski receptions over 3.5 off the boot. RPO stuff with Strevler. Look for Dembski's over too.
There's a forgotten man. You guys are forgetting. Dalton Schoen, right? 20 yards per catch, 17 yards per catch, injured last season. He's going to get over 50 yards. There's going to be an early throw that goes to him, big shot play. They're going to play action serve. He's going to throw it up. He's going to make a jump ball. I think Dalton Schoen's going to be a big piece to replace Kenny Lawler. I think he's going to get his numbers.
The forgotten.
I like that you guys went with the forgotten, and I went the guy who is really hot right now.
Yes.
Berryhill. Well, look, I mean, everyone, all the attention in the secondary was going towards McInnes, right? And why wouldn't they keep going that way? He's so talented, so you got to think that Berryhill will probably still get a few.
I like the Berryhill play a lot.
And you know what? If Davis Sanchez is telling me that he likes the play, then, because let's face it, I just basically drop a pencil out of the air and see where it lands because I don't bet. All right, Stanley Berryhill, Nathan Rourke, Nick Dembski, Dalton Schoen. You put this together. I didn't know we were putting these together this year, but this is plus 954. I know enough to know if you put a little bit of coins on this is going to win you a lot of money. Right, Chaz?
It could potentially. Tread lightly. Tread lightly, fellas.
You heard it here. Davis Sanchez
your mortgage tonight
is making you so much cash in this game. We got more from Princess Auto right after this. Well, these Blue Bomber fans, recent success, certainly something they're used to, making it to the last 3 Grey Cups. But after losing those games, they're hoping to not only make it back, but break that streak in front of all these fans. Let's take a look at the most rushing TDs last season. Chris Strevler was tied with Calgary's Tommy Stevens for rushing touchdown lead last season with 10. The Crystal Lake, Illinois native has amassed a career total of 32 rushing touchdowns over his 3 years in the CFL. He's been tied for the league lead in both of his last 2 seasons, taking home an impressive 12. In the 2019 season, of course, they use him in that short yardage, though, and now he has to do everything tonight with Zach Collaros sitting down for game number 1. Let's get back to Britt Dord, who's standing by with Strevler.
Chris, I know it's been a long journey for you to get back to this point, and you even had to wait the extra week to get the season going. Just how excited are you in this moment?
Extremely excited, extremely focused, and just thankful for the opportunity.
Well, I know you've talked about your relationship with Zach Collaros, how tight you two are. How much has he helped you to prepare for this?
He's been a great help this week, man. That's my guy, one of the best players, best leaders I've been around, and just love having that dude in the building.
Well, you know the Lions are coming off a big win in week 1. How can you get into rhythm early and kind of silence them?
Just got to take it one play at a time, execute our game plan.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
One play at a time. We're getting some serious hockey answers there. All right, let's go. That wasn't. You know what, though? He's dialed in, so I'll give him credit, and he's certainly a fan favorite in Winnipeg. Look, you guys talked about a couple of players that we should be looking for that we haven't spoken about so far, but Lapo, who's someone that's maybe not on our radar that we haven't had a chat about?
Well, I want to stay on radar a little bit. I want to talk about that guy, Strevy.
Okay.
5-8 as a starter. He's got to show everybody. Now, he can run the football. He's dynamic. And be able to call games for him is so fun because you run stuff that nobody else has run in the CFL. But on 2nd and long, he's got to drop back and throw the ball accurately and make passes or use his legs to create first down opportunities. That's what they're lacking. That's what he struggled with last year. He's got to perform and become a passer in the pocket. That's what I'm looking to see him do.
I'm going to be honest. I want to find out and see if Chris Trevler can be a starting quarterback in his league. I haven't heard of a team talk about a player the way they talk about Chris Trevler. Like, everybody absolutely loved this guy. I want him to succeed. I love everything he's about. But the reality is, he can run the ball. Can he be a starting quarterback? He gets his shots that I can't wait to see it.
And how many opportunities can you actually get until a team finally says, hey, you know what, we're going in a different direction. But a guy who can help him, in my opinion, is going to be Jason Hogan, the new offensive coordinator. And Lapo, you talked about how exciting it is to call plays for this guy. I remember having to play against him. You have to be ready for anything and everything. And you did a great job. And then Buck Pierce took over. He did an amazing job already as well, using the misdirection plays and utilizing him in the pocket and his ability to run. But you're right, he's going to have to find a way. Jason Hogan, how do you get the ball into your receiver's hand so that you can be effective in a different way?
But I would just say this, like, Strevy also has to understand we have an outstanding defense. Don't do anything dumb.
Yeah, great defense. I agree. Winnipeg's defense will be good tonight.
Winnipeg's defense to the Lions defense. Here's Britt once again, who's standing by with Matthew Betts.
Matt, a great start to the season for you. 6 defensive tackles in last week's win. How can you continue to make an impact out there tonight?
It's just about playing hard today, running to the ball, and play team defense. I mean, we need to build a wall, stop Brady or stop him as much as we can, and hopefully good things will happen from there.
I know you're mentioning Brady, but what kind of challenges does Chris Trevler bring, a quarterback?
Yeah, well, I mean, we just played Trey Ford last week. I mean, he's a rare athlete, kind of like Trey a little bit, can run the ball, is a tough runner, so of course accounting both of the runners as a passer of the ball, but as any other quarterback, we'll try to get him off his rhythm fast, and that's our job in terms of the D-line, to get pressure and making him comfortable early.
Your quarterback has never gotten a win against the Bombers. Your coach obviously back in his old home. Just how motivated is this group to get a win here tonight?
I mean, we're just motivated. It's still early in the season. I mean, we want to win. It's a cool environment here, home opener for Winnipeg, so it's going to be a fun time. And no, of course, we're coming all the way here to get a win, so we need to play hard, play 4 quarters, and that's the only thing we can control.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you, Brett.
How good was that answer?
Awesome.
Yeah, I saw just Trey Ford last week.
He's a pretty good runner.
He can run a little bit.
See what Trevler brings this week.
The fact that he thought that, we didn't talk about that.
Well done,
he should be up here.
Good job, Matthew.
You know what? You got a job on the panel when you want it.
Patty Neufeld fans right there.
I'ma show you how to ride. Come on. I'ma show you how to ride. Come on. I'ma show you how to ride. Yeah, ride. Come on.
With Zach Collaros suspended for 1 game after failing to respond to an off-season drug test request, Chris Trevler taking the reins under center for the Bombers for their opener, the first start since last July for the fan favorite on the opposite side tonight. He has yet to beat Winnipeg in his career. But he's certainly hoping tonight is the night, especially after the performance Nathan Rourke had on Saturday. It was incredible. 75% of his pass attempts, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, earning him the honor of top performer in the CFL for week number 1. He was incredible, and the 3 gentlemen beside me are incredible. Enoch, very quickly, what are you looking forward to tonight?
I'm actually looking forward to seeing Willie Jefferson and that defense, how much pressure they're going to be able to apply.
Love it.
If this Winnipeg team is about BC, because we saw in week 1, don't sleep on this Winnipeg team. This is a real test for BC.
I'm looking for this crowd for Winnipeg to make it hard.
You know they're going to show up.
They're going to be there.
Show up. So the Blue Bombers are set to begin their 2025 campaign, but before kickoff, a very fitting tribute to the incredible Chase Stegall.
Well, the Winnipeg Football Club asks that if you are able to, please stand for a moment of silence. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers and our entire football community was heartbroken to learn of the recent passing of Chase Stegall, son of legendary Bombers receiver Milt Stegall. Please join the football club now for a moment of silence as we think of the Stegall family during this difficult time. Thank you.
Fans, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem performed tonight by Beverly Wynn.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for
A beautiful night for football, a packed house at Princess Auto Stadium for a new season of Blue Bomber football. Kickoff from Winnipeg coming up next.
The vibes are high in Winnipeg tonight, and why wouldn't they be? A Thursday night football home opener with the BC Lions in town. The Lions opening up their season at home with an impressive victory against Edmonton last week. Our first look at the 2025 Bombers tonight, and it'll be Chris Strebler making his 14th career start due to a suspension for Zach Collaros.
Yes, according to the CBA negotiated between the players and the league, if you fail to respond to a drug test request, it is an automatic 2-game suspension. New Commissioner Stuart Johnson reduced that down to 1 game for mitigating circumstances. That game is tonight, so we won't see Zach Collaros. We will see Chris Strebler. We all know that Chris Strebler can run. He was a short yardage quarterback last year, scored 10 touchdowns. Can he throw from the pocket? You know the BC defense will try and make him do that. And speaking of throwing from the pocket, Nathan Rourke, player of the week in week 1, over 300 yards passing against the Edmonton Elks, most of which came in the second half.
His head coach returns to a place he called home for a decade, from 2014 to 2024. Buck Pierce was right here. Now he leads the BC franchise. The man he used to work for, Mike O'Shea, 17-8 in his career against BC. 5 straight trips to the Grey Cup. They'll look to make it 6 this year, and if they do, that'll be a Grey Cup right here at Princess Auto Stadium, where it is sold out tonight. 6th time in a row that they packed this place with a sellout. That's returned to the 30, and that is where we will get our first look at Chris Streveler.
Well, as the gentleman on the panel discussed in the pre-game show, Chris Streveler is 5-8 as a starter in the Canadian Football League. His first back in 2018 against Edmonton. This will be his first start against the BC Lions.
Starts with the ball on his own 30, 3 receivers out to his left, and the league's leading rusher, Brady Oliveira, tucked into his right. They'll hand it off to Brady, pushing it ahead, and that's a pickup of 5 yards on first down. Let's take a look at this Winnipeg offense tonight.
Well, a lot of changes for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. When you're the best team in a division, you're going to get rated in the offseason. They were, but the core is still in place, including Stanley Bryant, 4-time most outstanding offensive lineman, and Brady Oliveira, the MOP, an outstanding Canadian last year in the CFL. Over 1,000 yards rushing a couple years in a row.
Jason Hogan, new offensive coordinator, watching on from above for the Bombers. Empty backfield for Streveler, throwing here. Quick release, first down, and that's to Dembski. Give him catches in 72 consecutive games.
There's Dembski in that slot back position. We've seen him all his career. Watch the recognition, quick recognition to sit down in the zone. And Streveler, first pass complete to number 10.
Dembski, a West All-Star, 21, 22, 23, 24. Back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns. And they'll run it again. Brady Oliveira, a big hole, and he's going to take off to the 40. Here goes Brady to the 30. They track him down from behind. Gary Peters gets there, but a big one from Brady early.
Tight end running formation. There's Brady Oliveira to the left of Streveler. Watch the jump cut as he bounces outside. That offensive line collapse it down into the middle. Good recognition for Brady, and now it's open field for the leading rusher a year ago.
How much of the threat to run from Streveler do you think opens things up for Brady tonight?
It can pick your poison.
Oliveira quickly 49 yards on 2 carries. 1st and 10 from the BC 20. Streveler throwing here. How about an end zone shot? Got it! It's Dembski, hauls it in. Streveler strikes early, and the Bombers open it with a bang.
Well, the run to Brady Oliveira freezes linebackers. They're not able to get deep, and also takes the attention of the defensive backfield just for a split second, allowing Nick Dembski in behind coverage, composure in the pocket from Streveler. He drops it over the top of that coverage. Bombers on drive 1 take the lead.
Hey, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. Dembski down the middle usually works. 6 touchdowns 2 years ago, 6 touchdowns last year, and he's got his first of the year here tonight. And what a start for the home side as Castillo hammers one through, and they are up by 7. Dembski lays out for it, hangs on, and Winnipeg leads early.
You're right. Doesn't really matter who's at quarterback for this Bomber football team. It's going to be Nick Dembski down the middle, and that play action fake freezes the defensive back in Edwards Cooper here, gets him looking in the backfield at Streveler, and allows Nick Dembski to run right by him.
4 plays, 80 yards, just 2 minutes and 24 seconds for Winnipeg to find the end zone to start the season. This will be kicked to Robert Carter. Takes it just inside the 20. Makes one man miss. Second, not so much. Returns it just outside the 30. And this will be our first look at Nathan Rourke tonight.
Big second half in week 1 against the Edmonton Elks. You know, he didn't play poorly in the first half either. Actually had a couple of drops. The Elks played well in short yardage in a couple of situations and stopped the Lions on 3rd and 1. But it all clicked in that second half. Over 300 yards passing and the player of the week.
54 yards on the ground for Rourke, including 3 carries of 10 yards or more last week. They'll start it on the ground here, right up the middle. Decent enough pickup on first down into the hands of James Butler. Let's look at this BC offense.
And taking the old line, when you're at left tackle, Jarrell Broxton's got a deal now with Willie Jefferson, and we talked to Nathan Rourke about Jefferson. We'll get to that as the game goes on, but he did find Stanley Berryhill a couple of times for touchdown throws in that game in week 1 versus Edmonton.
First career 100-yard game for Berryhill at 105 yards. 37-yard touchdown included in the mix there. 2nd and 5 for Rourke. Just 4-man pressure from Winnipeg. Gets it away. That is behind the intended target of Justin McInnes. There's a flag, though, on the far side of the field.
I believe Stanley Berryhill was over in that part of the field. He's on the short side.
Offside. Winnipeg number 1.
That's Dietrich Nichols.
Illegal contact on receiver. Winnipeg number 1. 10-yard penalty. First down.
There you go. There's Berryhill. Dietrich Nichols coming up on coverage, and watch the collision. It looked like it may have been a bit of a almost accidental in some ways, but there was enough there. Knocked down Berryhill. Dietrich Nichols points to himself, my bad, and away we go, first down.
From the 47, back to Butler, runs into trouble right away, pushes ahead for maybe a yard on first down. Here's the Winnipeg defense.
Asked Nathan Rourke about Willie Jefferson up front. He said, and he's a veteran of 11 years, so he's getting older, and said, well, he's not getting any smaller.
Yeah.
He's got that great reach. Big second half of the year for Retta Cramby in that cover linebacker spot. And in the secondary, they've got veterans at the halfback spot. Evan Holm led the team in tackles. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing that your halfback leads the team in tackles, but he's around the ball.
He had 85 of them last year. Rourke spins, looking for a man down the field. Heaves one up too high for McInnes. And that'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll be forced to punt it away on the first offensive possession of the game for the visitors.
Last year's leading receiver was quiet in the first half against Edmonton. Just 1 target, 1 catch. It was a short one for about 5 yards, but Nathan Rourke found him in the second half. That would just overthrow a scramble situation. Couldn't connect.
Carl Myro to kick it away, averaged 53.3 yards per punt last week against Edmonton. Hangs this one up there. Raul waits, takes it just inside the 15. Contained at first, but now finds a little bit of space, far sideline, and takes it out beyond the 35. And a nice return for his first touch of the ball game. Strevler will get the ball back. Decent field position after this return. Also has a 7-0 lead. Welcome back to Princess Auto Stadium. Brady Oliveira 2 years ago had a great season. And he followed it up with just as impressive one last year.
Most outstanding player, most outstanding Canadian in CFL last year. And there is no question that this team offensively goes through the run game and Brady Oliveira. And it's not just that he leads the league, it's how they do it. They do it with great physicality up front, wears defenses down.
Get him involved through the air as well. 57 catches last year. Now they tuck it into the belly of Dembski. He's got nowhere to go. Tackle made quickly by Christophe Beaulieu.
Christophe Beaulieu coming down from the safety spot, play in the box, and they may just have to do more of that, the BC Lions, on defense to load up the box to try and stop Brady Oliveira in the run game. This is something to change it up and keep the defense guessing.
There's a flag in the secondary on the far side of the field here.
Illegal track back, Winnipeg number 88. The penalty will be enforced from where the ball became dead. It will be second down.
Carrick Wheatfall, the guilty party. That'll back them up significantly.
Just to the right of your screen. Wheatfall right there. You can't come down from outside the box and crack on a receiver. That's a blind shot. Player safety reasons, that's a rule, and that'll back up the Bombers.
Second and 22 for Strebler. Has to throw it away at the feet of his running back in there, former University of Alberta Golden Bear, Matthew Peterson, and that'll be a quick 2 and out, and they'll punt it away from just outside their own end zone.
But a good decision by Strebler. I mean, you're second and 22, not a lot of plays that you can lean on in that situation, and if it breaks down at all, kick the ball away, let your defense go and try and get the 2 and out.
And he went through some progressions before escaping out of the pocket and chucking it at the feet of his RB. Jamison Sheen standing on his own 6-yard line, and that one's end over end, bounces at the 49, picked up here by Carter, pushes it right back ahead, essentially to midfield. Decent field position when we return for that guy, Nathan Rourke. Extremely impressive in the opener last week against Edmonton. He'll look to get her going here tonight in Winnipeg. Well, Vernon Adams Jr. is in Calgary. The job is Nathan Rourke's once again moving forward. 3-touchdown game. That'll get you going.
Yeah, both quarterbacks, by the way, got a win in week 1. So it's interesting. But, yeah, Nathan Rourke, big second half. Again, his first half wasn't bad. I mean, he had a couple of drops. Javon Catoy dropped a touchdown throw in the first half. Came back, kept with the system. Told us that in the locker room, it was a different vibe than last year.
Rourke starting in midfield, looking for Hatcher. Broken up neatly by the safety, Jamal Parker.
Jamal Parker very aggressive on that throw. Now, he may have had the assignment here to rob those intermediate crossing route throws, but it looked to me like he was in a straight vice on Hatcher. In other words, almost double covering Keon Hatcher. And BC Lions lucky he didn't take that one the opposite direction.
Parker missing all of last season with an ACL injury, played 8 games back in 2023. Second and 10, flags here. Rourke gets it away for Hatcher, tries to roll ahead. He somehow caught that. Rourke kind of threw it from his knees to Hatcher, who was on his knees, but there's a flag on the play right at the snap.
Let's see what this call is, but that was, talk about different. It's going
Offside.
against
BC number 83, 5-yard penalty, will replay second down.
Stanley Berryhill jumping the gun.
Talk about different arm angles, things like that. There's Berryhill down at the bottom on the 55-yard line. Wow.
Looked like he lined up. I think he lined up offside.
From the angle, he must have been offside in alignment because he didn't jump.
So they'll back him up, second and 15 for Rourke. 3 to the left, 3 to the right. He goes to the left. That one up for grabs, intercepted on the far side of the field. Marquise Bridges takes it away, and the Bombers have the momentum once again.
Well, they may have to have those certain discussions they had, the BC Lions, at halftime last week against Edmonton, but it was intended for Justin McInnes, this throw, and it was a good throw. I mean, this is Nathan Rourke looking the opposite way, trying to draw the safety away from it. There's the sit down by McInnes. It goes through his hands, and that's kind of the wheelhouse for Justin McInnes. He wants those high throws because he has the great reach and the long arm. So, you know, every receiver likes it a little different from where the ball is located.
First career interception for Bridges, and they hand it off to Peterson again. That's his second consecutive drive that Matthew Peterson's been in at running back here.
See if there's anything up with Brady Oliveira, or if they're just rotating. But there's Matthew Betts. Remember a couple of years ago, Matthew Betts, 18 sacks, led the league, and 9 pressures in week 1. That was more than anybody. Ben Hladek, late interception down to the 4-yard line, turned into a touchdown. And Robert Carter, the newcomer on the corner, led the team in tackles with 7.
So Peterson is in at running back. I'm trying to find Brady Oliveira on the sideline. Haven't located him yet. This one bounces up, almost picked off. And that bounces at the 40. Will bring up 3rd down, and we're looking at a deep shot from Sergio Castillo.
Micah Alway can't believe that. It tipped. First attempt for Castillo, 51 of 64, just about 80% last year. Remember, the Bombers started 0-4 last year.
Regrouped nicely.
Yeah.
This is a chip shot for him last year. He had 11 outside of 50, and he had 2 from outside of 60. This is a 49-yarder from the right hash. That is up, and that is through. Great start for the Bombers. They are on top 10-0 in their home opener at Princess Auto Stadium. Welcome back to Winnipeg. We're going to send it down to Britt Dort here in just a second for a little bit more on Strevler's journey back, but an update on Brady Oliveira.
All I'm being told right now, guys, is that Brady is in the locker room. They will provide updates as the game goes on. But for Strevler, it is an exciting time for him. A lot of gratitude for this guy because he's in the league as a starter. Again, something he experienced in 2018. And he said, I took it for granted because I didn't appreciate it. The opportunity happened so fast for me when I first came to the CFL. This time around, he's coming back after a major knee injury he sustained in the Banjo Bowl, where he tore basically every ligament in that knee. He went into surgery thinking my career is over, but one of his motivators, Zach Collaros, who also dealt with knee injuries, and told him, you are healing way faster than I ever was, and you will be back out there before you know it. And guys, I also think his other motivating factor, probably his new baby girl, Sunny, who's taken in her first CFL game tonight with his fiance.
Nice. Congratulations.
Congratulations
to Strevler and his family.
Yes.
Keep that Oliveira situation monitored here as well in early development in this game. Rourke takes the handoff. Now dumps it off to Catoy, and he'll try to lunge ahead. 7 catches last week for 88 yards for the big receiver.
Yeah, but no traction yet for this BC offense. You know, they're just a little bit off, and give credit to the Bomber defense up front. Some changes there, but they do have Jake Thomas and Willie Jefferson back, core guys, and James Vaughters added from former Calgary Stampeder. Right now, it just looks like Nathan Rourke isn't quite as comfortable as he was a week ago, that's for sure.
Jake Thomas playing in his 129th consecutive game. Rourke with a lot of time. Now he's flushed into the pocket. He's going to take off on the run. First down and more. Look at this. Rourke down to the 40. Steps out of bounds just inside the 30. And boy, is he dangerous when he gets out of the pocket.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg number 1. 15-yard penalty. First down.
We'll tack on some more. Dietrich Nichols taking the penalty, his second of the game.
You see Nathan Rourke escape out but he goes through the progressions here. This was good coverage by the Bombers secondary. He didn't like what he saw down the field, so he takes off and runs. Then he puts it into another gear here. Watch the block made by Keon Hatcher. Keon Hatcher giving his quarterback a chance to get another 20 on this run, and there's the late hit out of bounds from Dietrich Nichols. It was close, but they are trying to protect quarterbacks as much as they can. I mean, that's pretty close. Very, very close.
36 yards for Rourke. Red zone trip for the Lions. From the 13. That is batted down quickly. Rourke tried to get rid of that ball right away, but Michael Griffin was there in his face to knock it down.
As good as Nathan Rourke's been early in his journey, this has been his kryptonite. Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's 0-4, including that one playoff game. And if you look at the numbers, this has just been a defense that he's had trouble trying to figure out. Well, let me put it this way. This is a defense that a lot of teams have had a lot of trouble trying to figure out.
Especially here, they're 37-6 at home since 2019. Second and 10 from the 13. Rourke dumps it off far side, and that is batted down. Butler, his running back, denied by Griffin again. Back-to-back plays by Griffin to force a field goal attempt here for Sean White.
Well, and two different types of plays. This is just a hot route right behind the goalpost. That's where Nathan Rourke is in the shotgun. And on the first play, Michael Griffin came up on a blitz and got pressure on the second. He's dropped into coverage, and right there to knock it down, James Butler tried to climb the ladder to get that one, and good timing by Michael Griffin.
20-yard attempt for Sean White, and the most accurate kicker in the history of the league knocks that one home.
Sold out house for the opener.
85% of tickets sold for the Grey Cup as well. That is going to sell out. If you plan on being here in Winnipeg for the Grey Cup, I suggest you move quickly on the tickets.
Get them now and make sure you've secured them, because how many home openers is now sold out? There's a few in a row. There's a few going back to last year at the end of the season.
Six total. Yeah, 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Sold out here at Princess Auto. They got a great team to cheer for.
And a nice stadium below the wind level.
Yeah, that helps. Come November.
Yeah.
Strebler will hand it off. Back to Matthew Peterson again. Peterson selected 36th overall, 24 years old, was the Canada West Player of the Year in 2023 with the Golden Bears. Coming out of that Chris Morris program, played for Chris before Chris left to take over the Edmonton Elks. And with Brady in the dressing room still, I'm sure we'll see more of Peterson. That's down the field and intercepted. Bounced off of him. Oh, it looked like he had it, didn't it? Williams gonna want that one back.
Two from the linebacking core now in back-to-back series. One when Micah Haway had that tip in his hands and just wasn't ready for it. And this one would have been a tough catch by Deontay Williams, who is the cover linebacker for the Lions. He had to go over his shoulder, try and play receiver there, and just couldn't hang on. But that's back-to-back throws from Strebler that have ended up in defenders' hands.
Strebler's 2 of 5, had that 131 20-yarder to Dembski, 31 yards total in the game. This kick will hang up there. Taken by Carter Jr. A couple of yards on the return. And after getting the field goal, BC will get the ball back here. Quite the timeline for Buck Pierce with these two organizations.
BC Lions walked into a room with Casey Printers and Dickinson in the quarterback room in BC back in his early days. Became the coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and their coaching staff, working with Zach Collaros for all those years as his offensive coordinator, and now getting the opportunity to be the guy in charge in BC. And 1-0 and got the Gatorade shower in week 1.
Rourke just 1 of 6 for 6 yards so far. Gives it to Butler, but Butler is wrapped up immediately as well. Maybe time for a quick jump cut. No more. Reddick Cramdy is there to make the tackle, his first of the ball game.
Yeah, the only play really offensively for the Lions so far tonight has been that run by Nathan Rourke. I don't think Buck Pierce wants to see his starting quarterback have to generate all the offense with his legs. Occasionally you want to do it.
Outside of that run, they only have 11 yards.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Need 10 here. Rourke in the pocket. Deep down the field. Into double coverage for Hatcher. And it falls incomplete. Dietrich Nichols had come over to help his safety.
really nice positional play from Jamal Parker at safety in this game. I've been watching him away from the ball too, but watch how he reads Nathan Rourke's throwing action, and he's going to help out on Keon Hatcher. That's a couple of times now that it's either a called vice where they're double teaming Hatcher trying to take that away from Nathan Rourke, or that's just instinctual play from the safety and Jamal Parker to just flow to that side of the field.
Meyer from his 20, big leg here. Raul slides over, picks it at the 25, stumbles, stays on his feet. Flag over in the middle of the field as he pushes this out. A good effort on that return to take it just outside the 40 when it looked like he really didn't have anything going.
Well, it didn't take long for Nick Dempsey to keep that streak alive. 71 straight to catch. And
during the return, illegal block. Winnipeg number 32, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Now 72 and a touchdown to get this one going.
Yeah, first touchdown of the year, had 12 over the last 2 seasons. And an illegal block on the return is going to back this up. Ball is sitting at the 20. The record, of course, Milt Stiegel. 90 games. It's not hard to believe that Dembski's got 18 more games in him here to catch Milt in the record. Strebler fakes the handoff. Far side. Finds Dalton Schoen, and there's a guy that we've not seen in quite some time. Good to see him back in the league, and he gets involved here.
Well, the Bombers lost some talent in the offseason, obviously, and that's what happens when you're a good football team, and one of them has been Kenny Lawler, but what they did get was Dalton Schoen back from injury, back from a lost season, and you don't have to dig deep in the memory banks to remember his big rookie year and that second year.
Yeah, 2 monster seasons. Wilson pushes it ahead, first down for the Bombers. Let's take a look at some ins and outs here for Winnipeg.
Well, when you're really good, you lose good players in free agency. Tyrell Ford's in Edmonton. Kenny Lawler's over there in Hamilton now. Adam Big Hill's done. So is Brandon Alexander. Wilson to the NFL. Drew Wolotarski gone. A couple of linemen. So, you know, that's going to happen. But what Michael O'Shea has done is built this culture and kept his core. When you talk about Stanley Bryant, Zach Collaros, of course, Brady Oliveira, guys on defense like Willie Jefferson. Evan Holm has become a leader in that back end.
Strebler hands it off, a little bit of space, pushing it out beyond the 35. Some help from the line as well for the rookie Peterson.
The important part about keeping the core.
Please put 1 second on the clock. 1 second on the clock.
The key there is and the reason it's so important is that core can then be the teacher. You know, they are the ones that do the self-governing. If there's an issue in the room, they get it cleaned up before the coach has to even come in.
It's the transitioning of the culture from one group to the next.
Be accountable for your teammate.
2nd and 4. For Strebler, final play of the quarter. Kept it, bobbled it, got it back, tries to push it ahead. And that is going to be close depending on the spot. Might be a little bit short of the first down, but we'll get that when we return to Winnipeg, where it's a good start for the Bombers in their home opener without Zach Collaros at Princess Auto Stadium. They have a 10-3 lead over the 1-0 BC Lions on Thursday Night Football. Winnipeg Blue Bombers on top 10-3, which is good news for the Bombers. The bad news here, and a big story developing, Brady Oliveira, 49 yards on 2 carries, a big one for 43 yards, but we haven't seen him since. He's currently in the locker room for the Bombers.
Yeah, that opening drive, big runs by Brady Oliveira really set things up, and we saw the Bomber offense. The Bomber offense that goes through Brady Oliveira. He's in the locker room. We're going to update fans as soon as we can. The MOP is down and went down early, so we're not sure exactly the extent of the injury at this point, but we will continue to try and find that out. In the meantime, that's Dalton Schoen saying, well, hey, we can throw the ball. Don't worry about that.
He had 1 catch in his return to the lineup so far. And his team is on top with a 7-point lead. And it's 3rd and short, so they did come up just short. Wilson trying to push it ahead, and that'll do it. Winnipeg's offense will stay on the field. Dalton Schoen, I mean, the 16 touchdown season he had a few years ago, absolutely remarkable. I mean, burst onto the scene out of nowhere and was a monster for 2 years. Only played the 3 games last year, and certainly they missed him.
Yeah, and it takes, it takes a while to just get the mental demons out. Even if physically you can make all the cuts and you're back from your injury and all of that, you had a preseason, a training camp, and Dalton Schoen had all of that. So physically he knows he can do everything he did back in those days. Now he's got to get rid of the mental demons and let it happen.
Streveler down the field. It's Dembski again. Can he get there? Defended well and broke it up. Well, you got a hand on it. Streveler, deep shot to Dembski.
Yeah, and I think Ronald Kent's going to get his hands on too. He gets some help from Bellew at the safety spot. He's going to roll back there and try. No, it is Bellew that gets the knockdown. Good. Thought it was 21, not 29, but he did run with Dembski the whole way down that middle.
Second and 10 from that Winnipeg 43 for Streveler. 3 options out to his wide side right. Throws it to the left quickly, looking for Schoen. And Gary Peters steps in. And Gary Peters takes it away.
Christophe Bellew with a couple of plays here. He gets the assist here because he's coming down low, playing safety, but playing in the line of scrimmage and coming on the blitz. So Streveler feels that blitz from not only him, but Ben Hladek on the other side. And Gary Peters
tried to do his headstand.
Well, he's trying to get up and run, I think. I think he's trying to get up and run. He's going, I got to get up. I got to go. I got to go.
Somebody's got to screen cap him right on top of his head with the ball after the interception. Huge turnover.
Yeah, big turnover. Rush throw. Peters takes advantage.
Willie going after Rourke, trying to get him, and Rourke will throw it away. Willie Jefferson keeps on going, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not intentional grounding if the ball is thrown near a receiver at the line or behind the line of scrimmage. It doesn't have to have a receiver anywhere near it if it crosses the line of scrimmage. But you see James Butler right there, and he bounces it before that knee touches. Jefferson thought he had his first of the 25 campaign.
Well, after that interception, that Jefferson plays got this crowd back into it. Now they bring some heat. That's almost picked off. Katoy got a hand on it. Dietrich Nichols was waiting for that ball to come to him.
Okay, blitz from the BC Lions turned into a turnover. Nathan Rourke's facing blitz again. Both these teams got to get ready to face blitz from the defenses, but coming from both linebacker spots, that's Cramdy from one, Kyrie Wilson going on the blitz. There's Cramdy off the edge. And the hot routes just not crisp. Hot routes meaning that both the receiver and quarterback see the blitz is coming and present a target quickly.
Look at this kick. It'll bounce out, and they'll mark it at the 7 from Meyer. Defenses stepping up and making some plays here on Thursday Night Football on TSN. Well, let's take a moment here and take a look at the class of 2025 for the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Suits.
Jermaine Copeland, Brian Chew, Javon Olafioye, Daryl Hall, Scott Flegel, and Glenn Johnson, and Frank McChrystal from Saskatchewan. Daryl Hall, the reason that we today have cover linebackers is largely due to the way that Daryl Hall played linebacker in Calgary. And there are 2 media inductees.
Paul Friesen and Judy Ohm both covering the Bombers for a long, long time. Congratulations to them as well, joining you in the media wing of the hall. Streveler from his own 7, pressured, gets away, dumps it off. Dembski comes up with it. There's a flag as Dembski pushes ahead to the 25, and this is going to be against the BC Lions, I think.
way back there in the...
Wait, was it late contact on Strebler here, I'm wondering?
Major foul, roughing the passer. BC number 3, 15-yard penalty enforced on the end of the play and a first down.
Now, Mike Alway is surprised, but let's take a look and see how late he was. All the way to the right of your screen on the penalty, but still remarkable throw. Just change the arm angle on the roll to his left and kind of throw it in that almost like a screen pass underneath, almost an underhand throw, and that push by Mike Alway got him extra yards.
Yeah, it looks like it was more face maskish than late. Now they'll hand it off again. A good burst. Right up the middle by Peterson, who remains in the ball game. And what a glorious, I mean, huge shoes to fill. Huge shoes to fill. Probably no bigger shoes to fill in the Canadian Football League than those of Brady Oliveira. And we continue to wait for an update on him, but Peterson, they're not staying away from him. They're continuing to run the ball.
Well, they're running their offense, but it's a different type of back, different sort of build. I mean, Brady Oliveira's about the same height, but almost 30 pounds heavier.
He's got some weight on him. Yep. Back to Peterson again, trying to push it ahead. Always in there. If it's not a first down, it'll be very close, and they'll bring Terry Wilson in to keep the drive alive, but that is going to be a first down. So back-to-back carries for the rookie running back.
Asked Michael O'Shea about having a bye in week 1 going into the season, and if that was an advantage or disadvantage or what he thought of it. And he said, every year we get the schedule's perfect. He said he doesn't want any excuses trickle down to his team that, oh, we didn't get the schedule we wanted or anything like that. He said, no, every year, perfect schedule, doesn't matter.
This year's schedule has them 5 in a row against the West to start, including a rematch with BC next Saturday.
Yeah, but to start with the bye, so you get to see every other team in the regular season. So you actually get to see the changes in their defensive coordination, offensive coordination, the BC Lions with a new OC and head coach.
Peterson again. And that'll be another first down as Winnipeg just decides to run it right up the middle.
But if you look at it, they got the bye at the top. Now this is game 2 for the Bomber, or week 2, but game 1. And then they have another bye after Calgary. So you mentioned the teams, they're going to test against their own division. Then they have a bye, and then there's a long stretch without one. And I was asking Coach about that. He said, nope, perfect. Perfect schedule.
No complaints.
Nope.
First and 10 from the 49, a drive that started under 7. This time, Strebler throwing, goes to Schoen, who turned around but tripped up neatly there by Robert Carter before he could do any real damage.
This has been the A-gap drive. And the A-gap is between the center and the guard on both sides of the line, both sides of the offensive line. Another little play action throw out there to Schoen, and a nice tackle by the youngster, Robert Carter.
Schoen thought he had more cooking there, didn't he? See him slam his fist down on the turf. Peterson in, now directly behind Strebler, slides over to his right. Strebler, wide side of the field, drops it in there. One tackle missed, trying to lunge ahead for the first down. It's Clercius, and they'll be very close once again.
Good second half of the year for Clercius. Kevin's Clercius, who is tough to bring down. I mean, this is a big guy at basically 6'3", 220. So you better break down and wrap him up, because he makes that first man miss. That was Carter, and then dives for the first down marker.
Wilson back in to take care of short yardage business. Needs a yard, pushes ahead, and he's got it. Let's send it down to Britt Dort for the latest on Brady Oliveira.
I have been told that Brady Oliveira is dealing with an upper body injury. We will get more updates at halftime where he will be evaluated.
All right, upper body injury.
So out for the rest of this half, it sounds like.
And then we'll get an update.
And then we'll get another update at halftime.
So he has not been ruled out of this game, but they will continue to evaluate him at halftime, and then I'm sure we'll learn about his final fate, at least for this evening. 1st and 10 from the BC 38. Back to Peterson. Found a hole right up the middle, down the 15. What a move! Matthew Peterson at 5. Touchdown! Welcome to the Canadian Football League. Matthew Peterson with his first career house call.
Well, there was some acceleration from Matthew Peterson right there. U of A product. Watch him when he gets through the line of scrimmage, and now he's in open field. Nice cutback into the middle. He's got another gear.
There's some burst to the rookies' game. Castile for one more, and Winnipeg goes on top by a little bit more, 17-3. Found some space, saw some daylight, and that was all he needed. Matthew Peterson, first CFL touchdown.
Outstanding blocking at the point of attack. Watch the newcomer Mike Vanderpool first get the down block. Then it's going to be Colin Kowski on the kick out. Let's show you that first. That opens up the hole for Matthew Peterson at the line of scrimmage. Always a problem? Not anymore. Colin Kowski takes him out on the backside. Patrick Neufeld is sealing any of the flow that might come from the backside of the formation. That gives Peterson the line of scrimmage, and he does the rest from there.
5 carries, 60 yards just on that drive for Peterson, who's up to 73 yards here on 8 carries in the first half. On the return, up to the 25. That is tripped up. Well, great start for one running back. Another running back has returned to BC. For more on James Butler, let's send it down to Britt Dorn.
Well, it wasn't long after he got the call that he had been released by Hamilton that he got a call from Lions GM Reinrig Maiden that, hey, we want you back. And guess what he told him? We should have never let you go in the first place. As you remember, he was with the Lions in the 21 and 22 seasons. And he did make an impact last week, getting that touchdown. Best part, he received the call while he was at Costco, guys. And as you know, you always get more than what you intended at Costco. You come home with more. And so he came home with a CFL contract.
Yeah, he got himself a job and probably a massive pack of Kleenex when he was at Costco. What a great day.
Macaroni, a big, huge
48 boxes of KD.
Well, look at his numbers. I mean, who wouldn't want him, first of all? But yeah, the Lions said, shouldn't let you go in the first place. He's a good fit with Nathan Rourke, too, and what Nathan likes to do at the quarterback spot. But maybe most importantly, he takes great pride in protecting the quarterback. And we saw that in week 1. He had some massive stops on linebacker blitzes to keep his quarterback upright.
Rourke out of the pocket. Is he going to run again? Kind of forced to in this situation, and he'll push ahead, and that'll be a first down for Nathan Rourke.
A little bit of a limp there from Lions quarterback as he goes back into the huddle. And through his progressions again, the secondary for the Bombers needs a lot of credit here. It looks like he just got tripped up. Right ankle may be the issue right now.
A little bit of a limp going back to that huddle. 43 yards on the ground already for Rourke. Not much through the air, though. 1 for 9 to start this game. Wants to throw here. Kendall, pressure right up the middle. Kyrie Wilson gets there. And a rough night for Rourke continues.
Well, you know, good call defensively for the Bombers to go A-gap blitz here from Kyrie Wilson when they noticed that Rourke limped back to the huddle and couldn't escape here. He couldn't move. Didn't look like he could push off that right foot very well. Kind of like, well, I can't get out of here, so protect the football.
Looked like Butler was going over to kind of help with Willie Jefferson. Couldn't get back to get in front of Kyrie Wilson. Second and long, looking to dump it off to Butler, but it falls incomplete. The crowd here in Winnipeg bringing it in this home opener as well. A 1-for-10 start for Rourke, and he comes off not that bad of a limp.
Let me get spatted up. Little tape over the shoe. Training staff's going to be right there with him.
6 straight incompletions will lead to a punt. Meyer drops it in there at the 40. Picked up by Trey Vaul. Vaul showing some burst early in this game. Takes it back outside the 50 on just an absolutely beautiful night in Winnipeg at Princess Auto Stadium. And the Bombers up 17-3. Josh Holloway and Rachel Hilson star in the riveting Max original crime thriller Duster. Saturdays on USA Network, and you can, of course, stream it on Crave. A good field position here for Winnipeg, already with a 14-point lead. Strevler 6 of 11, 66 yards, a touchdown and an interception. He's only carried the ball once for 4 yards. Like, it came to this game thinking Strevler was going to run for 100 yards. Not the game plan thus far. On the ground again. This is broken up immediately. Tavai, I think, was the initial point of contact on that one for the defense.
That's the type of play, though, that Strevler can pull it. He has the option here to either give here, and it's the same if it's Brady Oliveira, or he can pull the ball. He saw late the defensive end for the Lions crashing down. Mike Benavides is calling the defensive plays now. Ryan Phillips is up in the press box. Well, not the press box, the scouting box.
Strevler this time, a little bit of a draw, read well, and goes nowhere. That was Tavai again, getting a little bit of help as well.
Jonah Tavai will step outside and then cuts underneath to get to Strevler before he can get going. 2 back-to-back good plays against the run. It may have been a little bit of a coach's discussion on the sideline with that defense, saying, hey, can we stop the run?
Time to step up and stop the run.
Yeah.
Well, they do it there. Jamison Sheen, end over end. Drops it just inside the 10, and that hits the pylon. That'll be a single. You know, Jamison Sheen all of last season did not have a single.
Just checking out the ankle of Nathan Rourke. He's clearly favoring it, but doesn't have the spat going over top of the shoe. But they may have tried to retape underneath the shoe, and he was in the tent through that entire Winnipeg series, clearly favoring the ankle, but we'll see. Maybe it's not the ankle that's the problem. Looked like it from that replay.
Tick down towards 3 minutes. Rourke gets it at his 40. Winnipeg after the single on top, 18-3. They'll give it to their running back, but James Butler can find nothing. Back to the line of scrimmage and no further. This Winnipeg defense has come to play at home tonight to open the season.
We're still getting used to the close proximity here on set, but we have a great halftime plan. Winnipeg's deep defense for BC. And, of course, who is Matthew Peterson? Is anyone else distracted by the new graphics behind us? This is fantastic. Cool. Woo, new set.
Right.
Get back to set, Lapo. Get back.
As always, it sounds exciting back there. Halftime coming up. Let's see if Rourke can get something going before then. 2nd and 10 from his own 40. 3 options out to his left, 2 to his right. Looks down the middle. Pressured again. Trying to get away. Finds Catoy, who's tackled immediately on the far side of the field by Marquise Bridges. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, when we go into halftime, you're going to have to, I'm sure Buck Pierce will be talking about protection and how he may try to give Nathan Rourke some extra time. I mean, that was really a 3-man pressure originally that turned into 4 when Kyrie Wilson was added into the rush, but that's 4 against 5. And Rourke has been on the run, hasn't been able to settle his feet.
Trey Vaul takes it at the 20. To the 30, flag further down the field. Let's get another update on Brady Oliveira from Britt Dorn.
I have just been told that Brady Oliveira will not return to the game dealing with that upper body injury, guys.
All right, thank you very much for the update. We've been kind of waiting to find out exactly what was happening. Upper body out for the game. Not something you want to hear for the current most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, disappointing, and hopefully it's not too serious and he can return quickly here, because out for the rest of the game, yes, but hopefully it's not long term. I mean, it was a struggle for him early last year. Last year he was almost injured coming into the season. They went 0-4.
No yards. BC number 24. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg number 5. Both fouls offset from where the ball was caught. 1st down.
Penalty that Bomber teams don't usually get, but last year Brady started hurt. You know, and it was a frustrating start to the season. You mentioned their back half of the season. Yeah, they were good on the back 9. There's no question. Birdie's all the way through. But it was a tough start for Brady Oliveira. Changed his training, changed his approach a little bit in the offseason.
Strebler drops one out there for a 1st down as he gets it to Stearns, the former Rider, making his first catch with the Bombers.
Yeah, and this is a good play call offensively for the Bombers to get Strebler out on the run. There's a good confidence level when he does throw on the run, and he has the option to take off. There's no containment there. It was Matthew Betts that time. If there's no containment, he'll just keep running.
Fresh set of downs from their own 32. And this time the toss to Peterson. And he'll take it out to about the 35, a pickup of around 3 from Peterson. 76 yards in the first half in place of Brady Oliveira.
Taking full advantage of his opportunity.
What about the mindset, hey?
Yo.
You're coming into the game, you're like, okay, I'm behind
First
Brady
game
Oliveira,
of the year, yeah.
First CFL game, and then boom.
Well,
the spotlight is yours, kid.
Well, listen, I mean, Matthew probably walked out thinking, oh, it's Brady Oliveira. I'll just cheer him on
no
here
touch
for 18 games. Yeah. You never know when it's going to happen. Be ready.
They need 7. Strebler throwing quickly, batted down at the line. And that'll bring up 3rd down, and BC will get the ball back here with over a minute to play in the first half.
See who got that.
Dwayne Hendricks.
Yes. Defensive tackle.
Hendricks was with Hamilton last year and in Toronto from 2021 to 2023. Brought in to help the defensive line of the Lions. Jamison Sheen will let this go from about his own 25. Carter takes it at the 30. Trying to find some space. Cut it back in. And he was contained there by Kyrie Wilson, among others.
this Bomber defense. Willie's still been involved. Active linebackers. Riddick Ramsey's had a good first half. And I mentioned the play of Jamal Parker. Remember, he's replacing Brandon Alexander, who was just a real tough mainstay in the middle of that defense. Physical safety. Great leader in the room.
Rourke fakes the handoff, rolls to his right. Jefferson's there, gets by him, but then forced out of bounds by Michael Griffin. Like he wanted to gun it down the field, but nothing opened up.
So that's where the credit needs to go for this first half. The Bombers are up in this game. I mean, a great opening drive offensively. Don't take anything away from the offense there. And one nice run from their tailback in Matthew Peterson, replacing Brady Oliveira. However, this defense has not allowed Nathan Rourke to get comfortable at all. And it's not exotic blitzes either.
2 for 11, just 10 yards. Rourke, this time down the field, heaves one out there at the 30, and it's hauled in, turning his body around. A big boost for the Lions offense from Aiden Eberhardt.
Aiden Eberhardt, he is the number 2 receiver in the slot and is just running a straight post. And this is the first time that a little bit of time given to Nathan Rourke, and look what he can get done if you give him a little bit of time. Back shoulder, good location of the football for Eberhardt to go up and rip that down. Boy, did they need that.
Oh, big time. First catch of the season for Eberhardt is a monster. And the Lions work from the Winnipeg 27. 7 on the line. Rourke rolls to his right. He's going to take off to the 20, stumbling. Stays on his feet and gets out of bounds. About a yard shy of what would have been a first down with 39 seconds on the clock.
I can imagine Buck Pierce was holding his breath a little bit when Rourke decided to take off here. And then again, when he decided not to hook slide, but to take that hit and get the first down.
Popped pretty good there, but got 9 yards of it. He's got 53 yards rushing here in the opening half. And now he'll push ahead, and he'll pick up the first down to about the Winnipeg 15. What a boost this would be for the Lions after
huge.
getting nothing in the first half. If they could score late.
Yeah,
Timeout, BC.
No question.
Timeout, BC.
The big play to Eberhardt, even if the Lions come away with a field goal here, it's something to build on at halftime. Buck Pierce can go through the playbook, take a look at those protections up front, because again, no exotic blitz from the Bombers really. A couple of times, but not very often. It's just 3 or 4 man pressure. And the 5 up front has really struggled blocking for BC.
To be down just 1 possession after how this half has played out.
Oh, yeah.
Massive boost. But Bombers defense will have something to say about that.
And so does the sellout crowd.
Oh, yeah, get rowdy in here now. First and 10 for the Winnipeg 15. Empty backfield for Rourke. Dumps it off. Far side is running back. And Butler gets about 8 before he's wrapped up once again by Griffin. Boy, we've said Griffin's name a lot here in the first half.
Yeah, and you see Nathan Rourke on that snap. He's trying to get the snap from center, and he's having to clap his hands because of this crowd noise.
Moving quick here. They'll hand it off to Butler right up the middle, and he takes it down inside the 5. And that'll be a first down for BC with 24 seconds on the clock.
Getting a big team in.
Toy and Eberhardt to the sidelines. A couple of big boys. Andrew Pearson, one of them, checking into the game.
Now the refs won't start the clock until both substitutions have been made, both offense and defense, and now they'll blow it in.
Clock ticks on the Lions. Rourke with Butler in behind him. Hands it off. Butler pushing ahead.
Lions bench now is telling them to hurry up. Make sure you get in and out of the huddle. Get into the line of scrimmage quick.
Nathan Rourke up behind center, trying to push it in himself, and he does. BC Lions touchdown. Nathan Rourke finishes off a mighty important drive in the end zone, and the Lions offense finally shows some life.
And if you're a young quarterback watching this game, this is how you run short yardage with your eyes up. Don't bury yourself in the line of scrimmage and not look where you want to run to. Keep pushing forward. Rourke does it that time off to his right. He sees that right side fold, and he steps off and makes that little cut to get there. Eyes up. Huge, though, for the BC Lions to make it a one-possession game.
That pass to Eberhardt changed everything in this half for the Lions. Sean White makes it a one-possession ball game. 8 plays, 77 yards in just a minute and 9 seconds.
Dejon Allen is right tackle. But you know those guys up front take great pride in protecting their quarterback, blocking for their quarterback and running backs. And it hasn't been overall a good half for that group for the BC Lions. And you know Buck Pierce will try and get some corrections made. But they take great pride in that, and they know it. So the big boys said, hey, let's get this one in and then regroup.
It almost looked like a look of relief on Rourke's face there. Almost about time that we got something into the end zone here. And it'll give them life going into halftime. They had 4 first downs on that drive. Only had 3 before that drive. So night and day for the offense in the final 2 minutes of the opening half. BC has been very good for the first 2 months of the season. 17-4 in June and July since 2021, but have had some problems like many other teams against the Bombers. On the return, Baul. 5 seconds left. Let's take another look at that catch from Aiden Eberhardt.
Wyoming, I see you. Getting it done down the seam. He's got pretty good coverage on him from Terrell Bonds. But that ball thrown to that backside shoulder makes a great adjustment while he's going up for it and then secures it on his way to the turf. That's a big play. The Lions want to come back here.
No shortage of things to discuss for our panel at halftime. Brady Oliveira out of this football game. His replacement, Matthew Peterson, an excellent first half, 77 yards and a touchdown. BC not getting much going, and then a big strike here, pretty eventful opening half of football at Princess Auto Stadium.
And a bit of an ankle on Nathan Rourke.
Something to watch too. Yes.
We'll see if he gets extra tape, or he looked good on that run though.
That last run on that final drive, he seemed to be moving okay, so that would be a positive in this overall discussion. Strevler getting the start for the suspended Zach Collaros rather, and Chris Strevler 7 of 13 for 79 yards, touchdown, interception. Only carried the ball once. Was handing off a lot to Pedersen, and of course Nick Dembski, 3 catches for 49 yards and a 20-yard touchdown strike from Strevler early in this ball game. Some things never change, eh? Nick Dembski to the house, and he's standing by with our Britt Dorn.
Nick, I know BC scored late there, but there were some big plays from all 3 phases of your team in that first half. What are some positives you can take away into the final 2 quarters?
Yeah, we're playing good football. I mean, we're playing as a team, all 3 phases, as you said. We just got to keep, keep going, man. We can't do that before halftime. That's on offense as well. We got to stay on the field.
Well, 72 consecutive games with a catch for yourself, and then you finish off the first drive with a touchdown. Just how good does it feel to be back out here playing ball?
Yeah, this is what I do. I love it. So, I'm just happy to be back out here with these guys and come back out here for second half and finish this thing off the right way.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you.
We'll send things off to Kate and the panel.
And Britt, I'm very happy to be back inside with these three guys. Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, Paul LaPolice. We've got ourselves a football game to beat the Lions.
We called it.
I don't think I called it, but maybe you called it.
We knew Winnipeg was going to be tough.
No, I thought you meant the game overall. I was talking about the BC Lions last drive on that one.
Yes.
I mean, and we've got, but look, it's CFL. Anything could absolutely happen. Let's start with this Winnipeg D, though, Lapo, because my goodness, the first half, they've been sensational. Willie Jefferson, 34 years young, doing what he does out there. I mean, Jones had a phenomenal first half. You could go down the list, but they were getting to Nathan Rourke pretty often and early in this one.
What I thought about his last season, guys, if you remember, BC came all the way out to Winnipeg, and they had a huge win in Winnipeg. Vernon Adams threw for 398 yards.
Their halfback leads the team in tackles.
Alexander Hollins had 215 yards. That's last year's defense. Why? Young defense, new system, new DC. Well, good Lord, year 2 of this unit, unbelievable. With 1 minute left in this half, Nathan Rourke was 2 of 11 for 10 yards. Take away that Eberhard pass, add that 4, 13, 67 yards. So this defense is getting better. They're learning. Second year under Jordan Younger. This is a unit that can lead them to championships because they can take the football away and you cannot get first downs. Now, Nathan Rourke is not a young quarterback. He's a very good football player, Davis, and they're making him look very average.
Yeah, none of us have any doubt about the type of football player Chris Streveler is. Chris Streveler's an excellent football player, no doubt. The question we had was, could he make enough plays in the pass game to keep this team alive? And the answer was yes so far. You saw that play action in the beginning of the game.
Well,
you look at the backfield. This is a great throw. This is what you want from him. Off of the play action, a perfect strike to Dembski, boom. There you have it. That's what you want to see. Watch the influence of the run game. Look at number 48. Watch his eyes. His eyes are in the backfield. He's looking at 20. He's looking at 17. He's supposed to be jamming that receiver right there to not give him a free release on that Lions defender, Marcus Sales. Free release, touchdown. That's the influence of the run game of this Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You saw that early. The question I had, what will be key in this second half, Enoch, is if the BC Lions get it close, can Strevy make enough plays in clear passing situations, like that second down where Peters picked it off? That was a clear passing situation. Strevy's got to be good in those spots for Winnipeg to close this thing out.
And I'll tell you what, there were 2 close calls where Williams Sr. had a chance at the ball, Michael Alway had a chance at the ball, and finally Gary Peters had the ball. Now, they got to make good on those opportunities, the defense of the BC Lions, if they want Nathan Rourke to continue to get better as the game goes on. But also, this defense has to do better, especially in the run game, because, hey, the MOP just went down, right? Brady Oliveira's down. Well, hey, let's introduce Matthew Peterson coming down the middle of the field. And look at that. Left, right, and he's got good enough speed to get right to the end zone. You got to look at this defense. These are all guys that you expect to make plays. Hladik gets blocked by the offensive lineman Newfield right there. He's going to complain about being held. You got to use your hand, Hladik. And you got to look at Matthew Best right on the left side of your screen right there. You cannot get blocked by Dalton Scholl, Micah Alway as well as a linebacker. We got to use our hands. And I'm saying everything that Mike Benavidez is going to say in the meeting. But probably saying it right now as we speak. So they got to step their game up and utilize their hands because you cannot relax just because Brady went down. You saw Matty P.
Yeah.
I think that's what they
Matty
call
P. Is that what we're calling him now?
Yes, that's
we can just do that. We can just make up nicknames.
And let's make Enoch a linebacker coach in the CFL. Let's go.
I think you're going to run through this set right now. And you know what? Good news, Benny. You don't even have to talk to your team. Just roll this back and you'll be fine. Second half action. A great first half of football. The Bombers currently up by 8. We got plenty more coming up right after this. Montreal. We will be back at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. The Ottawa Red Blacks with their season opener as they welcome the Montreal Alouettes to town. How dominant were the Owls in that first game against the Toronto Argonauts? Their defense was absolutely sensational. And for the Red Blacks, no Drew Brown. I mean, he got absolutely rocked by Jameer Thurman in their opener against Saskatchewan Roughriders. So it will be Matthew Schultz. And if we put that combination together, it doesn't look great right now on paper for the Red Blacks, but at least they'll have that home crowd, Ches.
Yeah, that Montreal defense, to answer your question, how they look.
Amazing.
Darn good. And Noah Thorpe's defense, call him Torpedo. Over 53% of the time last week, they blitzed either a linebacker or sent either a linebacker or a defensive back. That's over half the snaps. And they're not necessarily blitzing, but they're sending guys from different spots. Like I said, either a backer or a DB were coming. Now, the challenge is going to be for Matthew Schultz to be able to pick that up and execute. This defense, through week one, is the best that we've seen thus far. Winnipeg sure looks darn good to start, but that will be the challenge, to handle this Montreal defense.
And I think it's going to be hard for Sam Carson, center for the Ottawa Red Blacks, young football player. Like you said, Montreal puts so many people at the line of scrimmage, it creates confusion. One, for the O-line. Two, for the running back sometimes. And you saw a lot of sacks happen last week from that. Plus, sooner or later, Nick Arbuckle was like, I'm just going to get the ball in my hands because I can't trust the protection. That's what's got to happen. They've got to be better protecting. They've got to bring more people in to give them an opportunity. Matthew Schultz.
Makes it tough. You have to not only count right, and then you have to win the snap.
Right.
So it makes it tough.
I mean, it's tough to hold on to the ball when you got Sean Oakman running full speed at you.
True.
But I'm looking forward to seeing Davis Alexander, the second start in the Davis Alexander era. I mean, you talk about a balanced quarterback, a guy that can run it, a guy that can throw it. And I don't think last week's game was his best game that he's played, nor that he will play this season. He only had 205 yards on the in the air, but also added 50 on the ground. He is going to put a lot of pressure on that defense. So I'm looking at a Darius Pickett, the party started, to start the party over there. Lorenzo Malden over there, and the rest of that defensive line in Ottawa to really get involved. They have to put the Davis Alexander, they have to make him uncomfortable if they want to have a chance.
But I mean, how nice is it for Davis Alexander, too? Obviously, a new era of quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes, and you have a defense like that. It's almost like you're given a cushion right now. You don't have to. Yeah, and that's the thing. His numbers didn't jump off the pages, but who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Does it remind you a little bit about this game we're watching right now?
Just a tiny bit. Oh, nice transition, David Sanchez. I love it.
Come take your job.
Party started.
Ches, you want over here?
I couldn't
It's all
do your
yours.
job.
You know what? I'm going to go home for the second half. David Sanchez has it. You know what? You a big fan of the Trues, Chesy?
I like his hair.
Not ready to go. That's what they're singing. But you know what? We're ready to go back to football, and that's what we'll do right after this.
Second half action coming up here in Winnipeg. The Bombers lead 18-10, 134 rushing yards with Brady Oliveira being hurt. Aiden Eberhardt, big play for the BC Lions. He stands by with Britt Dort.
Well, leading into the half, you had a pretty massive catch out there that helped lead to a touchdown drive. Just how much did that help the momentum of this team coming out here?
Yeah, that helps. I mean, when everyone's doing their job, giving the quarterback time, everything kind of adds up. Quarterback can get the ball out. It gives a lot of momentum. You know, we've got a lot of vets on our team, so you know we're not freaking out. We're not pushing the panic button or anything like that. Just get the ball, drive down the field, and score some touchdowns here, and keep that throughout the whole game.
Well, we saw that last week where you made some major adjustments in the second half to get the win. So what was the message again tonight?
Yeah, just make the adjustments, you know, see what they're giving us, and then be able to play off of that. But at the end of the day, do your job, you know, do your 112. So that's kind of our adjustment.
Thanks so much. Have a good second half.
Thank you.
It's the right mindset to have heading into the second half, I would think.
Well, and the 112, meaning that every player, all 12 on the field, has a job to do. If you do your job, collectively, we'll have a successful play. And I would suggest the protection needs to improve first and foremost for the Lions.
Carter on the return. We're underway, second half, Princess Auto Stadium. And that is a big pop right away. Michael Ayers, who was just a monster on special teams last year, delivers a blow to Carter.
Returner Jermaine Jackson was tweaked some sort of injury, had an injury in the warm-up. And that's why Robert Carter is returning kicks for the Lions in this game. And this is his first game doing it. He did a little in college at Robert Morris. Pennsylvania, but he's new to him here.
He's feeling that one. Drive starts in the 26. Rourke gets it away quickly. And that is held on to. That was a tight window, but Berryhill is able to grab it. That's his first catch of the game.
Yeah, those are the ones you get up and adjust stuff. You know, you got to fix the helmet, and
you are into traffic right there, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta do a little inventory here. Little inventory. Okay, so I still have my helmet on. I gotta get my chin strap right. I got my shoulder pads a little off here.
Picked up 7 after a career high 105 last week. This time they'll give it to Butler. Butler trying to push ahead. Good second effort. And that final push might be enough for a BC first down, and it is.
Well, you know, in order to know completely, you have to take a look at the game video. But to me, it looks like the Bombers, Jordan Younger, is trying to take away in the passing game Keon Hatcher, especially in second and long. They're spending a little more attention to number 4 and forcing Nathan Rourke to look elsewhere.
No catches for Hatcher or McInnes just yet. There they are, those two guys right there. They're in the slot to the right of Rourke. He looks that way. And now he will go to McInnes. That's his first catch of the ball game. Wrapped up by Tony Jones.
Let me show you Jamal Parker here and what I mean. Watch Jamal Parker with Keon Hatcher in the slot. Hatcher's going to come off the line of scrimmage and stop it right there. See, Parker is waiting for Hatcher, so it's a double team. That's why that time it was thrown to Justin McInnes, because he's open in the middle there on the shorter route. But clearly on passing downs, they want to try to take away Keon Hatcher. At least try to talk Nathan Rourke out of throwing it that way.
Timeout, BC.
BC forced to use a timeout with the crowd here at Princess Audio Stadium. Just rocking. And they got it out just in time. Use that timeout.
So I guess...
Please reset the game clock to...
So I guess if you're a Lions fan right now, you're saying, okay, so they're trying to take away Keon Hatcher. So what does Buck Pierce do now? Well, if they're taking away Hatcher on the deep routes, have Hatcher run a corner. That'll draw Jamal Parker with them outside and open up the middle for a backside seam right into that hole where the safety was. So use Keon Hatcher as a bit of a decoy almost to pull the safety out of the middle.
No timeouts left in this ball game for the Lions the rest of the way. But get it away quickly. That's going to be a first down as Rourke moves it again efficiently into the hands of McInnes.
Yeah, that was the first thing I wanted to look at, and how Nathan Rourke was actually moving around in this second half. And take a look. He's got a little play action fake there. Arm angle changes to throw it around the rush from Willie Jefferson. You have to throw it under his arms. No chance you're going to throw it over his hands.
Impossible to do.
Yeah.
No extra tape on that right ankle for Nathan, so looks like he's okay, good to go. Butler in behind. Takes the handoff. Rourke wants to go downfield. He'll heave one down there. Incomplete. Was looking for Hatcher. Bonds was there. And Evan Holm had come over to help out as well.
So the other way that Buck Pierce can try and get the ball to Hatcher is put him as a single receiver over there at the wide side, or the short side of the field, but the wide out. So it's a longer way for the safety to try and get to. So this is a one-on-one really with Terrell Bonds. Holm tries to get there to help a little bit, but that's to get a one-on-one with Hatcher. They can't complete it, but they're trying to find ways to move him around.
Just get him away from everybody else.
From the safety, yeah.
Find some space. Second and 10 for the BC 50. Bombers show pressure and they'll bring it. And that is batted down. Of course, Willie Jefferson. Like we said, a tough guy to throw it over.
Yeah, I mentioned off the top, Rourke saying, when we asked about his age, Rourke saying, well, he's not any smaller he still gets, and you ask the quarterback, do you look for him before you snap the ball? Do you try and find him? He said, most of the time, no. You don't want, as a quarterback, you don't want to get locked into looking at the pass rush, because then you lose the coverage. But with him, you do check where he's lined up.
Nayu hustles over there. A bubble has to run back for it, and he'll be taken down just 1 or 2 yards shy of his own end zone. Willie Jefferson just keeps going. 6 sacks, 10 knockdowns last season. Under. Only 10 players managing to get under par. I think I'd shoot about 300 on that course with the rough they've got. This drive starts deep in Winnipeg territory. They'll hand it off to Peterson. Gives him a little bit of breathing room, not much.
In the offseason, I went to St. Andrews. Got there where golf was invented.
You did?
I did, and I went into the pro shop and I said, what's the club record? And the guy looked at me like I was gave me that sideways look, like, what?
Then he told you, said, good to know, and walked out.
Yeah. I bought a hat.
No, there you go. You have to buy a hat if you're going to be there.
Yeah, pretty cool though. And you can golf with your dog there. Like there was a guy with,
strange.
Yeah, there was a guy with his dog.
2nd and 7. Strevler down the field, has a man that is complete out to the 35. Sneaking in behind Gary Peters, which you don't say very often, was Carrick Wheatfall, and that's his first catch of the season.
Well, Matthew Peterson, we've seen a couple of good runs filling in for Brady Oliveira, and if he doesn't make this block, there's no play for Strevler. He gives up a safety. That's Micah Alway coming up the middle in the A gap. Nice pickup on that blitz, cuts him down right there, gives Strevler a chance to get it in behind Gary Peters.
More than enough breathing room now, all the way up to their own 40. Back to Peterson again, back to the line of scrimmage, but just no further. Brady Oliveira not in this game. This is the last we saw of him right here.
Well, this was the big run, and I'm wondering about, and this is complete speculation because we haven't got any details, just that it's upper body, but did he land on his right shoulder there? He goes back to the huddle after that play and kind of shakes his arm there, and then look at him in the huddle. Now, this was the Dembski touchdown. And after Dembski caught this, the entire offense went and celebrated with him. Brady went straight off the field.
He knew something was up. Schoen takes that one from Strevler and will be just shy of a first down.
But see, this drive for the Bombers is successful already. I mean, they were inside their 5-yard line to start this drive. A 2-and-out there, you're talking about giving up a safety, giving up 2 points, kicking the ball back to Nathan Rourke. Strevler with the throw down the rail gets them out of the shadow of their goalpost. Now, even if they have to punt to end this drive, they've got field position back.
Wilson in the game, lunges ahead, first down, Winnipeg. It kind of feels like that drive that BC had in the third quarter against Edmonton last week, which started on their 3, right? It was a 107-yard drive. This one starting a little bit further back.
Yeah, it opened the floodgates. I mean, it was a 3-point game against Edmonton, and that 107-yard drive ended with a major, and then there were 2 majors that followed, and that was the game. So you wonder how much this demoralizes the BC defense here. Strevler keeps this going.
No work from their own 53. Strevler sidearms it to Schoen. He's got some space. Schoen trying to break a tackle. Will get wrapped up in the 30 by Peters. But Schoen coming to life here in the second half.
Pretty tough right here to make this decision. Do I crash down or do I keep contained? And that, I believe, is Tavai off the edge, and he goes to crash down on the run play. That allows Strevler outside. Little sidearm into Schoen. A couple yards after the catch.
All the way down to the visitors' 30. 3 receivers. Wide left here for Strebler. Looking deep. Down the field. Drops it in at the 5. Touchdown. Strebler strikes again. It's Carrick Weekfall. And the Bombers find the end zone.
Just like what the Lions did last week, this is a massive Bomber drive, starting from their own 2-yard line. They get out of trouble, so at the very least they can punt it with some room. Then they want to look at field goal position, and then the big strike, if you can, to finish it with a major. That's a backbreaker. Tough to come back from for the Lions.
Castile adds one more. Sensational drive constructed here by Strebler and this offense. 6 plays, 108 yards in less than 4 minutes.
Boy, nice throw by Strebler, but let's see complementary routes. There's 2 post patterns to clear out, and then in behind it, this deep out, almost a corner route, and you'll see man-to-man coverage. Stop it there. Gary Peters has got to pick up the 3rd inside route. He gets turned around, and that's why Strebler has the open throw. But complementary routes with 2 posts going deep to open up that area. So even if Peters is in trail, he can still lead him to a catch.
Strebler on that drive, 4 of 4 for 101 yards. Very impressive drive from Strebler. Does Nathan Rourke have an answer? Find out next on Thursday Night Football. First touchdown of the season for Weedfall, completing just a fabulous drive from Strebler. 4 for 4 through the air, 101 yards, 30-yard touchdown strike. If anybody was doubting his ability to pass, checked a lot of boxes there, didn't he?
Yeah, and he did it from the pocket, deep in the pocket on that deep sort of shallow corner route.
Rourke has to step up in the pocket, looking for a response to Hatcher, and he's got it! Are you kidding me? He'll get it to the 20, down to the 10, looking for the end zone, got it! Oh my goodness, what is happening? What a response from Rourke, and Hatcher goes to the house. BC answers back.
That is how quick it can happen in Canadian football. Big drive from the 2-yard line for Chris Strebler and the Bomber offense, and Nathan Rourke in one play erases the 7 points. Body control from Keon Hatcher. He's one-on-one with the safety and Jamal Parker back there, and a nice block at the end from his teammate Barry Hill to spring Hatcher for the major.
Just like that. How can you not love this league?
Wow. Come on.
God, that was fun. Sean White gets that one through and makes it 25-17. 77-yard strike to Hatcher.
Let's go, man. Just like that.
One-on-one, that's it.
If you were looking for life in this football game, Rourke just got you some.
That's Keon Hatcher just inside the numbers, the 3rd receiver inside, and he's going to run the deep route here. But I want to show you at the end of this play, good fight there for the ball. Hatcher wins it, but watch Barry Hill in the extra effort. Holm has a chance to get to him. Barry Hill cuts off that angle because it looks like he might catch him before he scores. That's the key block to spring him for the major.
Bit of a crowd silencer here, which is not easy to do in Winnipeg, but they were stunned on that one. Rourke all of a sudden's up to 165 yards with a touchdown, 58 on the ground as well. And we're just settling in here on Thursday Night Football. Still a quarter and a half to go.
You're finished, Hags. You're finished, 4.
You know, we talked about Hatcher earlier and how they were bringing help over. And that time it was just a straight up one-on-one. And he was able to beat his man.
Yeah, there's different kinds of combination coverages too, and it starts to get more and more complicated, but it just is, sometimes you're playing almost a zone look on one side, man look on the other, and you get a matchup with a safety, and that time Jamal Parker and Keon Hatcher got matched up. Here we go.
Trevau's got it in midfield, and he's going to be forced out just inside the 50. He has shown some flashes in the return game thus far tonight.
Vavu or Vavoom?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to steal that. I will definitely steal that if he gets a return TD.
He has shown a couple of things. First, vision. Second, fearless. You got, if you're going to be a top returner in the league, you got to be fearless. You got to just hit it full speed, and if you get hit, like we saw Carter from the Lions earlier in this game, that happens. But he has both of those aspects of the game, and now the last one was that speed.
Instant field position. Now they'll hand it off. And Stearns takes it up for about half of what they need. Using Stearns a bit of that Dembski role that we see most of the time. Now they're going to move quick here too.
Matthew Betts chasing on the inside, and
Strebler turns. That one batted down and falls incomplete. Was looking for Wheatfall, but it's closed and locked down by Robert Carter.
Yeah, Robert Carter bounced back. Remember, he's the guy I mentioned that got hit on that kick return. Had to go and regroup on the sideline, came back, made a big play there because Strebler could have grabbed the momentum right back. Now this is a long one.
Hit from 49 earlier.
Hit from 60 last year. So
twice.
Yeah.
At 11 from 50 and beyond. That's a league record. Sergio Castillo just inside the right hash. A 50-yarder. That one is up, and it is good. Sneaks it inside the right upright, and the Bombers bounce back with some points of their own, courtesy a great return from Trevau. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football on TSN. It's been an interesting night for Nathan Rourke, hasn't it?
Well, earlier in the first half, he looked like he twisted his ankle, or at least hurt it anyway, on that hit and scramble. But late in the half, when they only had, at that point, 3 first downs for the entire half, Eberhardt comes up with a big contested catch. That led to a major. And it's a one-possession game. Strebler scores on the long drive and right back in one play. Nathan Rourke to Hatcher, and 6 on the board there.
That was a great block by Berryhill.
Yeah.
Just making sure they could finish the job. Nathan Rourke started this game 2 of 11. 8 of 19 now for 165. Trailing by 11. Will start this drive on his own 40-yard line. Takes a look again, down the field again, and who else? It's Hatcher. He's got him again, and Hatcher breaks loose. He'll get it down to the 30. Berryhill there with another block, and a flag this time as Hatcher took it down inside the 20. Is that a flag on Berryhill?
Yeah, it looked like it. That's all it could be over there.
Major foul, blindside block, BC number 83. We're going to go back 15 yards from the end of the play and a first down.
Well, first of all, let's look at the play because it's right out there, and that's what the adjustment for Buck Pierce when the Bombers were trying to double team on Keon Hatcher. They were trying to take him away in the first half and were successful at it. They put him as a single receiver in the backside, and that's opened him up a little bit more. And there's the penalty. You can't come back towards your own line of scrimmage and give a blindside block here. Not sure it was out of bounds, but defender can't see that coming, and that's dangerous.
After the penalty, they work to the 35, a bobble. Rourke picks it back up, dumps it off to his running back, Butler. Wow. And they're going to get about 5 yards out of that. It's a little bit messy along the way.
Wow. So I'm pretty sure Buck Pierce doesn't have in his playbook, okay, here's what we're going to do.
Are you sure?
Just roll it along the ground. You just scramble again. No, this was just a noise issue, a crowd issue that didn't get the snap count. I don't think Rourke even got into his cadence. He was just looking at the defense at that point and then just made something happen on the fly.
Got a hand on it, though. Could not hang on, and Sean White will be called into work and make it an 8-point game with a field goal attempt.
Yeah, it looked like Buck Pierce was taking his time there to take a look at this point in the field, but no, you got to, take the points, make it a one-possession game. Lots of football to be played here.
Pretty good first half, but things have been cranked up so far in the third quarter between the Bombers and the Lions. Sean White, 94.3% each of his last 2 seasons. 37-yard field goal attempt here. And that one is up, and it is through as well. Castillo and White taking care of business tonight. Well, if you thought the U.S. Open was a big event, how about that one? That'll be a great showdown as well. What a beautiful night here at Princess Auto Stadium as we kick off week 2 in the Canadian Football League. And we've got a good one brewing in the Peg. 28-20. Winnipeg leads, and they get the ball back here on their 40. Keon Hatcher, 2 catches, but they go for 127 and a touchdown. Hopefully you have him in your fantasy lineup this week. Strebler quickly screen, we fall, and he has a little bit of daylight. He'll get it down to the 50 before he's tracked down and taken down by Beaulieu.
Mentioned this before in other games that if you want to run these wide receiver screens, you need a block right at the point of attack. The guy covering the guy catching the ball is the guy that's usually going to make the tackle. That block is made by Dalton Schoen. Dalton Schoen gets out there on Gary Peters. Watch Schoen here. He gets out on Peters. Peters was the guy responsible. Block that point of attack, you got a chance.
I like seeing Stanley Bryant downfield a little bit as well, trying to help out for the BC 45. This time they'll run it. The rookie takes a pounding that time.
Kimoko Toure. Wow.
Nowhere to go.
Wow.
For Peterson.
Well, they talked about stopping the run. I mean, Matthew Betts with Brady Oliveira before he was injured, Matthew Betts before the game said to Brett on the sideline, we need to build a wall to try and stop this Winnipeg run game. And didn't look like they were going to be able to do it. The wall has got stronger as the game's gone on.
The wall has been initiated by the BC defense. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. And flags here against the Bombers. This will back them up a little bit more.
Jalen Edwards-Cooper was trying to come on a halfback blitz.
Winnipeg number 10, 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
He was going to come on a halfback blitz, and I'm not sure if he may have. I'm not sure if Dembski was watching Cooper and jumped. That's what made him a little more anxious to get going, because when you run a blitz from the secondary, there is a voided zone somewhere out there.
So you're in a hurry to get to that spot.
You're in a hurry to get to that zone, yeah.
Attack on 5 more, 2nd and 16. Strebler will have 4 out to the right. Looks in that direction, now comes back around to the left. Trying to find Peterson, but it falls incomplete, and that'll bring up 3rd down. And it'll be Jamison Sheen who comes out to punt it away. They trotted Castillo out from this distance quite a few times last year, but not here right now with an 8-point lead. Carter stands back on his 10 to receive the kick for the Lions. She just gets that away. Pressure right in his face. Carter takes it at the 14. And a return to the 20. No further. In the NBA Finals, that will continue tomorrow. BC gets the ball here, back within striking distance now on the road in Winnipeg. Berryhill swoops around in behind his quarterback. They'll hand it off. And pushing ahead for a few extra yards is James Butler. It's been rough going for him tonight. Not much opening up. That's his 9th carry of the ball game. He has just over 20 yards.
Now, usually when that happens, BC will try and get Butler outside in those little quick tosses, screen plays.
It's usually good for 5 or 6
swing throws.
catches a game, Stands into the left of his quarterback here, does Butler. Bombers will send 5. Rourke down the field, and that is deflected. He was looking for Hatcher again, and this time Bonds was there to break it up.
Yeah, this was to go back to the single receiver being Keon Hatcher into the boundary, trying to get the same matchup and threatening like they were going to go deep again. There's Hatcher here. Instead of going deep, he tries to curl it up. Timing throw to see if they can get a new set of downs in the first, but Terrell Bonds jumps it. He's not scared. He let that deep one go a long time ago. He just said no.
Meyer kicks it away. Taken at the 30. Brought back out just shy of the 45. Now a little extra push ahead as Vahu gets some help. And decent field position for Strevler with an 8-point lead. Final few moments, quarter number 3.
I think Chris Strevler's been at his best in the passing game. I mean, he threw the deep touchdown to Wheatfall from the pocket, but he looks real comfortable when they get him on the edge running. Off of play action.
Dembski and Schoen in the slot to his left. Now Peterson will slide over to the left of his quarterback as well. Takes the ball. 4, maybe 5 on first down. I'm still waiting for Strevler to pull that one at one point.
Yeah.
And take off, because he hasn't done that all night.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a surprise. I mean, they've rolled him out. Jason Hogan, the new offensive coordinator. Of course, Buck Pierce, the head coach in BC. He's no longer calling the plays here, obviously, and Jason Hogan now takes over. Now, he was the running back coach for a few years with Brady Oliveira. Brady Oliveira speaks very highly of Coach Hogan and very similar play calling. But, yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't pulled it a couple of times.
You know it's coming at some point, I think. Back to Peterson again. He's got room right up the middle. First down inside the 50. As he closes in on a 100-yard game in his CFL debut. He's knocking on the door right now. Bombers have a lead through 3 quarters in their home opener against the BC Lions. Can they seal it away in the 4th quarter? We'll find out. It's Thursday Night Football on TSN. Well, time to settle in. We've got an excellent 4th quarter on the way. The 2 quarterbacks in the 3rd quarter combined for 279 passing yards, and we've got 48 combined points so far.
Well, impressive big drive for Strevler when he was on his own 2-yard line, went down and scored. That was a big drive. It's rare where you see long drives like that in any league, but I think the emergence of Keon Hatcher and how they've made the adjustment for him, putting him into the boundary, worked in the 3rd quarter early, but as you can see, Winnipeg is also figuring that out, and Terrell Bonds almost had himself an interception. So now you got to keep moving those chess pieces in the game of football to figure out what comes next.
I like describing it that way. It is, okay, they've caught on to what we were doing now with Hatcher. Now we have to do this.
Now we got to do something else.
What do they say? Rook to Queen's 9. Isn't that? I don't know. I like like chess. I'm not good at it, and I don't know much about it, but I do enjoy it. Strebler from the BC 46, first down. Out into the flats. Has Wheatfall. And a nice tackle made over there by Ronald Kent Jr.
So field goal range right now for Strebler. So it'll be interesting to see the play calling here. Obviously, so much football to be played in this fourth that you're going to still be aggressive, still run your offense, not getting conservative by any stretch of the imagination, but also comes down to those decisions that the quarterback has to make. You don't want to force it when you have potential points in field position.
2nd and 5 for Strebler. Gets it away, puts it in a perfect spot. It's down to the 15 and now the 10. Right back to Carrick Wheatfall, who's having himself a game. He's over 100 yards on 5 catches.
Yeah, before the game, Davis Sanchez said, I want to see if Chris Strebler can, be a passer. Can he pass? Can he throw the ball well enough that we go, okay, yeah, he could be a starter in the game? And because his sample size is small, and we know that he can run. We were even surprised he hasn't pulled the ball enough. But he has shown that he can throw from that pocket, threw around the rush there. That was deadly accurate.
Empty backfield here, 4 to the left, 2 to the right, and now he's going to take off. A little bit of a delayed quarterback draw, still pushing ahead, and finally will be stopped. Looked like he almost spun himself open, and now he hops up, and he is fired up, isn't he?
Yeah, this is a designed quarterback draw. Nice blocking on Betts on the outside. Tough to bring down.
It's Deontay Williams who wrapped up his lower body and stopped him on his way towards the end zone.
6'2", 225.
Coming right at you. 2nd and goal from the Lions 4. Can the Bombers finish the job? Peterson stands in to the right of Strebler. Strebler, corner route, drops it in there. Got it, Dembski. 2nd of the game for Dembski. 3rd of the game for Strebler. And the Bombers open it up again.
Well, I think Strebler can throw. Based on this second half alone, I mean, that's a dime. He drops it over the shoulder of Nick Dembski. I mean, ball placement, bang on there. That's 2 throws in a row to get him down there, and that one for the touchdown. 2nd for Dembski, and accurate throw from Strebler. Wow.
Castillo for a 15-point cushion. Can't believe it. The lead remains 14, 6 plays, 65 yards. Strebler to Dembski again.
Straight man-to-man defense here. No help in the middle because it's basically a cover 0, which means you have no help, and you've got to stay inside if you're Deontay Williams here. Seal the inside with no safety behind you, or else the field is too big. Well, Dembski sees that. Impossible to cover the corner because now you're in a chase position with that inside leverage. Pitch and catch for Strebler out there to Dembski.
Second half for Strebler, 8 of 10, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. This time it's Berryhill on the return. Oh, and he's hammered and the ball is out. That scramble at the 35, and who's got it? The Bombers say it's them. The Lions say it's them. And it is Winnipeg ball. What a turn of events in the crowd at Princess Auto Stadium erupts.
Forced into some return duty as well because of that injury and warm-up to Jermaine Jackson. I don't think he's had a return tonight. That might have been his first. Chris Ike with the hit. Special teams, pops the ball out.
That was his first return of the game.
Michael Chris Ike, just
great hit.
Great tackle. Pops it out. Cover team recovers and chance to...
Timeout, Winnipeg.
Bombers take a timeout. Chris Streveler has tied a career high tonight with 3 passing touchdowns, 246 yards. It's crazy, and the game's far from over. But no Zach Collaros. Streveler's closing in a 300-yard game with 3 touchdowns. No Brady Oliveira. The rookie, Peterson, has 99 yards on 15 carries. Other guys have stepped up in some significant absences for Winnipeg. Can the Bombers open this up even more? No work from the 35 after the Berryhill fumble. Peterson up the middle, 2 yards on the carry.
Matthew Peterson, you know, that's exciting time for him.
It's a 100-yard game.
Bear 100-yard game. Hamilton 4th-round draft pick back in 24, was traded to Winnipeg in April of this year. And early in this game, if you're just joining us now, Brady Oliveira, upper body injury, hurt early in the game and has not returned, will not return tonight. Further assessed after the game, but what an opportunity and a way to take advantage of it for Peterson.
Streveler in trouble, had some time, couldn't find anybody, and is taken down by Dwayne Hendricks. And now bring Castillo back out onto the field for Winnipeg.
Matthew Betts, inside move, double teamed a little bit. He didn't get there first either. I thought he might have got there first. Dwayne Hendricks will get the tackle.
Castillo from 47. He's got 2 that were deeper than this tonight. That is up, and it is wide right. This will be brought out by Carter, and he returns it just beyond the 6. Castillo, after doinking an extra point, pushes that one wide as well. CFL action will be back tomorrow. Friday Night Football as Montreal rolls into Ottawa to play the Red Blacks. Coverage gets underway at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN. Ottawa will not have Drew Brown coming off that loss last week. Montreal looked pretty good. I did that game last. Montreal looked good against Toronto. Now they'll head out on the road. Willie Jefferson, look at him trying to get this crowd going. Not that they need much help. Lions need a little load, trailing 14. This starts in their own 6. Rourke with time, has some room down the field. Berryhill comes back to it, tackled immediately by Bridges, but he's got a first down.
Little breathing room on that play, debating in the commercial whether or not Carter should have given up a single there. It would still have been a 2-possession game. It would have been a 15-point game, so 2 possessions, but you also need a 2-point convert in one of them to come back and tie it. But I think possessions, the field position would be the advantage. This throw right here gives the Lions a little bit of breathing room.
Rourke moving Berryhill over in the slot to his left. DeCoy comes in to block for his quarterback. Rourke gets it away again, and that is hauled in near sideline. Some fancy footwork from McInnes, and they got a first down.
Footwork and concentration. Justin McInnes has a defender underneath him and has to fight through it to get to this ball and keep his concentration. It's coming right in your living room. You can concentrate on this now. Lock in. Defender's going for it. His hands are in your face. And I'll just outreach you above you.
That's the high ball you were talking about earlier in the game.
That was intercepted.
When he missed it, yeah. First 10 from the 35. Rourke pressured, trying to escape. Had Katoy, and he dropped it. Looked like that was in his hands, and it popped out. I'm not sure how Rourke got rid of that one.
Javon Katoy's had a couple hit his hands in this game, and he's dropped him. And I think for the most part, Reda Kramdi has been the guy responsible for him. It's been those inside routes, those quick curls, things like that. 6 has been right around 86 in a lot of these plays tonight. That might have been a hit to the head.
Looked like there's a hand on the face mask of Rourke there. 2nd and 10. Gets it away again, and how about that? They'll say incomplete. Dietrich Nichols, great job. Because Hatcher went down and had that, and Nichols just sort of looked over top of him and batted it away.
Rourke's laboring a little bit. Hatcher was super frustrated, but that's Dietrich Nichols. Man, this guy punches above his weight class. He is just one of the toughest players. Comes in, is physical with Hatcher. Besides, he's a little late to get to the ball and then strips him just to make sure.
Great play.
That's great timing and hustle to get over there. He'll hit you too. Dietrich Nichols will come up and play physical.
West All-Star, 3 of the last 4 years for Dietrich Nichols. Nalu takes it at the 35. Bounces around and gets stopped just shy of the 45. Let's take a look at Rourke as we go to break. We'll let you see what we saw after the throw. Feeling it a little bit with no contact. Interesting. Welcome back to Princess Auto Stadium, and Nathan Rourke is not happy. We're not sure what happened, Suits, but it is hurting him to throw the football right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's laboring a little bit in that midsection, that core. You know, again, I'm not a doctor, but if you think about the ankle early, and maybe he's adjusted or compensated for the ankle with a different throwing motion that's now affected his midsection somehow, and he's back in the tent.
Second trip to the tent tonight for Rourke. Strevler cruising along on the other side here for Winnipeg with 7 and just over half minutes to play. Hands it off. Great cut by the rookie. And Peterson takes it up to the 50.
Go back and take a look one more time at this throw that seems to affect Nathan Rourke in his midsection area. Lets it go, and then right down on a knee, and he got up kind of holding his rib cage almost, but clearly laboring there. And you see there with the left hand, he's holding his hip.
Not good. Brady Oliveira out earlier in the game. There's your pull. Betts, Strevler on the run. And Betts would not let him get away, would he? And now Strevler's going to go over and say a couple of things to Betts.
You know who I am? You know who I am? You know I hate that shit.
So he pulled it. We were wondering because he hadn't pretty much all game long. So this is Betts redirecting. And Betts cuts him off.
Third and 4, Jamison Sheen. From his own 40, gets it away. Towering kick. Hauled in just inside the 15 by Carter. But a Cramsey almost on him immediately with the special teams tackle.
Yeah, I don't think Buck Pierce is going to hesitate here. This is Jeremiah Masoli, number 2 spot. Nathan Rourke, it looks like his night is done. A little banged up after this one.
36-year-old Jeremiah Mazzoli called into duty.
Well, when you look across the league this year, at not just the starters and their experience, and even with the young guys who have some experience like Davis Alexander or Nathan Rourke, and Drew Brown in Ottawa, but the backups have experience as well. Cody Fajardo, Cloud Bentley Thompson, Jeremiah Masoli.
Very deep position right now. Mazzoli with a flag. It's complete, but there's a flag on both sides of the field here. Willie Jefferson getting in the face of Tied. This is against the Lions.
Offside. BC number 8, 5-yard penalty. We're going to replay first down.
Well, his numbers in the first half, but for one drive, weren't great. Better second half, 12-27. Full credit to the Bomber defense, because he was under the gun pressure-wise in the first half big time.
Does Mazzoli have some magic in him here? Gets that one away. Flag as the ball is caught by the running back, James Butler. And that's going to be against Winnipeg.
Illegal contact on receiver. Winnipeg number 32, 10-yard penalty. We're going to replay first down.
Michael Griffin's had a good game, so, you know, we'll give him that one.
Yeah, he's been involved quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, he really has. He's a rotational player coming in, and a little bit of illegal, a little overly aggressive, past the 5-yard zone, gets the illegal contact, but he's been around the football tonight.
Was first and 15. It is now first and 5 for Mazzoli. Pump fake, far side, and that this time is held onto by Catoy, just for a couple of yards.
Remember Jeremiah Mazzoli, Eastern representative at MOP in 2018. You mentioned a 5,000-yard season. That was the same year, 52-09 for Jeremiah Mazzoli, 28 touchdowns that season.
So hand it off to Butler, trying to find a hole, and he's got one big enough to pick up a first down. Let's send it down on the sidelines to Britt Dort.
Well, I've just been told an update about Nathan Rourke that he is dealing with an oblique injury right now, but they are not sure if he's coming back in. He did go back and grab his helmet, put it on, and look at his plays, so he looks eager, boys.
All right, we'll see. Something to monitor. Oblique injury, Mazzoli on the run. Dumps it off to Butler. He's got a ton of room. Butler will take it outside the 40, down to the 50. Butler cuts it back over midfield, and a big play from James Butler.
Yeah, and the play starts with the patience of Jeremiah Mazzoli. Again, a backup quarterback who's got that veteran experience. He's not flustered by this situation. Down 2 scores. He's seen it happen and evaporate quickly, so is patient with this. Rolls out, finds Butler, and a couple nice moves in the open field.
Now almost a two-handed sort of shovel pass ahead to Butler just to get back to the line of scrimmage. He was under pressure, got pretty creative, actually, to not get sacked there.
Now in midfield, you're almost in 3-down territory, 2 possessions.
Yeah, with 4 minutes left.
4 minutes to go.
There'll be no field goal here.
I've seen 2 or 3 possessions in the final 3 minutes on the CFL game, so there's that. But, yeah, I think you're going 3 down.
A loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Mazzoli from the pocket. Oh, he's in trouble. Heaves it away. Far side. Intercepted. Waiting for it there. Marquise Bridges takes it away. His 2nd of the game. And that will almost do it.
What's the saying? Pressure bust pipes. This time Mazzoli's on the run and just overthrows his target. Ezekiel Tied was out there, and he just either expected him to turn up or just overthrew him badly.
And now Strevler will come in with just over 3 minutes to play and look to seal this away. Peterson bouncing off one man. Strebler downfield to block. And Peterson tracked down from behind by Devine, but he's got a first down again.
Boy, the formula looks very similar with this Winnipeg Blue Bomber team.
They've owned the West for half a decade. Good start tonight. Hey, this has been a great game, but we're just getting started. Friday Night Football in Ottawa as the Alouettes meet the Red Blacks, Stampeders, and Argos in Toronto, and then we will be in Hamilton for the Riders and Ticats also on Saturday, second half of a double dip. Strebler. Pretty impressive performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my question to Davis, do you think he's a passer?
Well, I mean, I could see, this is just his 14th career start. So we haven't had a good dose of him moving the ball down the field, but Strebler has been great. And you know what? He was good to talk to this week as well. He almost seemed, I don't know, let's say like...
different perspective.
Yeah, different view on football. He's a father now, coming back from an injury, back in the Canadian Football League, moving forward. I thought it was a terrific conversation we had with him.
And really appreciative of his opportunity, to get this start. Zach will be back next week, but when you just don't know when it'll be your last opportunity, and he sort of has that perspective now and was put together a real nice game, top to bottom. And it hasn't been because he's run for 100 yards.
And we'll do this again next Saturday. Same two teams with some significant injuries looming. I mean, no disrespect to any players anywhere else across the Canadian Football League, but as far as star power goes, Brady Oliveira and Nathan Rourke are two pretty significant injuries to see happen on the first game of week 2, and both of those guys have left this football game.
Next couple of days, they'll go and re-examine and take a good hard look with all the x-rays and everything else that needs to be done. But Nathan Rourke, those obliques are real important in the throwing motion.
Carter at the 5. Made one-man miss. Tracked down just outside the 15. And Mazzoli will come in to mop things up for the Lions. 1:53 on the clock.
There's gonna be a few ice bags for Robert Carter Jr., 22 years old, and was told just before kickoff, hey, we know you did some returns. You're 5'9", 175. We know you did some returns in college. Could you do some tonight?
No different here.
Yeah, because our returner, we lost him here to injury. Something happened in warm-up. He's taking some pounding tonight.
Down the field. Wall wide open, but Hatcher could not get there.
Double move, inside move. This point in the game, that was Marquise Bridges saying, can I get another?
Give me a third.
Trying to jump that inside slant, and double move worked, and Mazzoli just missed it.
Well, that would have made things very interesting here.
Onside kick.
Auto Stadium. Mazzoli again. Gets it out to Butler. Can he escape? He will not. Tony Jones all over him. And that'll bring up third down.
Just wondering about how many times do the Lions and Bombers play? 3 times or twice? Best we check, Frank. Should have had that note.
They only played twice.
And that's so points for
Johnny, our ace stats man.
So points for and against.
On the return, had it actually get knocked away. And then it came right back to him.
I'll catch up with all that thinking there, because I was thinking that Buck might go for it on third down. Buck Pierce might make that decision, but if they play twice, then and they can split the games. This one looks like it's in the books, but split the games, win the next one, then points for and against in the series would matter. So punting the ball was probably part of the process there.
Played 3 times last year, 3 times the year before that, and 3 times the year before that.
Yeah, right.
Just twice this year. Next week, Peterson pushing it ahead. What a night for this kid. Drafted by Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then traded to Winnipeg. And he's done the job tonight.
Over 3,000 yards with the Golden Bears and 9 touchdowns, and 24 years old.
I think I might have still been, I used to do Golden Bears games. I think I might have been doing Bears games still when he was a freshman, and you could tell at the time that he was a pretty special player, and he was for a long time there with the Golden Bears.
Well, not only running the ball, though, but also we saw him pick up some blitzes. And, you know, when you get that young running back in, getting his first opportunity.
Extracurriculars engaged here on Thursday Night Football.
And by the way, this is an automatic kick carry over, so they want to be careful.
I wasn't expecting to see Strebler come out of that little scrum there, and he is, well, and he's fired up.
Well, if you want a guy on your team to have your back, I'll take 17. Give me 17 to have my back. Don't get me wrong, I don't condone any of that after the whistle stuff, but his teammates love Chris Strebler.
Yeah, nobody says a bad thing about that guy. He'd taken off his helmet and was walking off, but they're going to leave him out there for this 3rd and 5.
But I was mentioning, usually for a young running back, in a game where he gets thrust in like that, and you know, he'll get a little excited and miss a couple of blocks.
Yeah.
And that's when your quarterback gets whacked. I haven't seen that all night.
Third and 5 with time ticking down. Back to Peterson again. Spin move into a pile and then eventually thrown down. And that'll be a turnover on downs, and BC will come out with 30 seconds remaining in this game. I can't wait to do this again next weekend in Vancouver.
All the departures, coaching changes, coaching staff changes for Michael O'Shea. One of them being Buck Pierce as his offensive coordinator, leaving to the opportunity with the BC Lions as their head coach.
Technically, they're coming off a bye week.
Yeah, they are. They're good when that happens.
18-1 now in their last 19 after a bye week, going back to 2017. So, bit of a twist on it, with it also being their first game of the year. But when they got a little bit of extra time to prepare, they were near automatic.
Yeah, and Coach O'Shea didn't want to go there when we were talking about that. Again, saying the schedule's perfect no matter what it says. But I asked because I think there would be an advantage. If you have the bye and you can see all the other teams play one game in the regular season with their starters and what they're going to run offensively, defensively on special teams, I said it's got to give you a little bit of an edge to have that tape, have that video. They don't know if you are. And the other thing for the Lions is they had a brand new offensive coordinator to think about.
Yeah.
Now Nathan Rourke told us we did have Buck Pierce, and he's kind of inside information with regards to the Bomber organization. So there was that. But yeah, I just, if you're going to beat the best team in the West, and the Bombers are the best team in the West, if you're going to beat them, you have to stop the run. I mean,
they did not do that.
They didn't do it. The wall wasn't good enough.
Final play of the game, McInnes gets it down to the 30. Stays on his feet and will eventually be tackled just shy of the 20. And that will do it. Winnipeg, 34-20 victory. Injuries loom large on both sides. Coming out of this one, Strebler the victory, though, Suits.
Yeah, Strebler the victory, and he did it from passing from the pocket, 3 touchdown throws for Chris Strebler. It wasn't that he tried to run the ball every down, and Buck Pierce has to regroup after a loss. Again, we'll remind the viewer that both Brady Oliveira did not finish this game, and Nathan Rourke for the Lions also left banged up. So injury reports coming up for those two fan bases.
And of course, Zach Collaros suspended for this game. So Strebler got an opportunity. It's his 14th career start. He picks up his 6th victory, 15-24. 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception. If you told me the Bombers would win a game with Chris Strebler quarterback and he carries the ball 2 times for 9 yards, I think a lot of people would have said no way.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Strebler silenced a lot of people tonight.
2 to Dembski.
Excellent start to the season for Dembski as well. Back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns, 6 touchdowns each of the last 2 years as well, and he finds the end zone a couple of times tonight.
Yeah, and if you're a Bomber fan, you're excited about that. You're excited about backup Matthew Peterson, who comes in for Brady Oliveira real early, has his first ever 100-yard rushing game. Of course, he is a rookie in his first year, his first game, and Nick Dembski tonight was outstanding. But that's the leadership core. We mentioned that early. Stanley Bryant, Nick Dembski, even a Dalton Schoen now, Brady Oliveira. If you're a young guy and you have this guy to look up to, how does he work in practice? How does he watch film and video? How does he lead in the room? Because when he gets on the field, he walks it like he talks it. So you automatically have respect as a rookie walking into that situation. And a guy like Matthew Peterson, boy, he took full advantage of his opportunity with guys like veterans around him, like Dembski.
Dembski, 31 years old, heading into this season, but no signs of slowing down yet. Tonight, BC falls to 1-1 on the season. Excellent second half against Edmonton last week. A better second half than the first half here this week as well. A couple of turnovers didn't go their way. Nathan Rourke ends up with 249 yards after a very slow start in this game, and then of course was not around at the end of it. And in the end, the BC Lions come up short. They lose 34-20. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are simply a wagon at home. It doesn't matter who's at running back. It doesn't matter who's a quarterback. 38-6 in their last 44 at home. And they've won 4 in a row when Zach Collaros doesn't play. So that says something about the depth of the organization as well. That is going to do it from Winnipeg tonight. 34-20, your final. For Glenn Suter, Britt Dort, I am Dustin Nielsen. Thank you for joining us.
Hope you enjoyed Bombers and Lions here on TSN. In just a moment, we will hear from Kate and the CFL panel. We begin this edition of SportsCenter with Jay Onray with highlights from the game. Let's head to Winnipeg. Ahead of kickoff, Winnipeg held a moment of silence for Chase Stiegel, who passed away last week, the son of former Blue Bomber and TSN analyst Milt Stiegel. Chase was just 20 years old. Chris Strebler got the start. Zach Collaros serving that 1-game suspension for failing to respond to an off-season drug test request. Winnipeg's opening drive, Strebler, the handoff to Brady Oliveira. He takes it 43 yards down to the 20, but bad news, Oliveira played just one more snap before leaving with an upper body injury. He did not return. Winnipeg scored on the next play. Oliveira's replacement in the game was Matthew Peterson. Making his Canadian Football League debut, second quarter, 10-3 Bombers. Peterson finds a hole and takes him 38 yards, and he's in the end zone. His first career CFL touchdown. Winnipeg extends the lead. We go to the third quarter, 18-10 Bombers. Strevler to Carrick Wheatfall. Wheatfall, a terrific name for a football player from the Prairies. Caps off a 6-play, 108-yard drive for Winnipeg. But Nathan Rourke with an answer on the BC Lions' next play.
Shallow corner route. Rourke has to step up in the pocket, looking for a response to Hatcher, and he's got it! Are you kidding me? He'll get it to the 20, down to the 10, looking for the end zone, got it! Oh my goodness, what is happening? What a response from Rourke! And
the incredible Dustin Nielsen on the call on TSN. Nathan Rourke, a 77-yard pass to Keon Hatcher for the score. And once again, it's a one-score game. We go to the fourth, 28-20 Winnipeg. Strevler to Nick Dembski in the corner in the end zone. Beautifully thrown ball by Strevler. Third touchdown of the night for Strevler. Dembski's second TD of the night. Winnipeg up 34-20. Then 8 minutes left. Rourke throws and then goes down on one knee. Went to the medical tent. It was an oblique injury. Rourke would be replaced by Jeremiah Masoli under center. So some injury issues in this one. Kate and the panel with more on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers season opening win.
Alongside Enoch Mwamba, David Sanchez, Paul Lapolice, and if I would have told the three of you gentlemen before this game there was no Zach Collaros and we would barely see Brady Oliveira, and the BC Lions were coming into town after their phenomenal opening week performance, but then Winnipeg turned the tables on them and were fantastic. And it started with the backup QB and Chris Strevler. He came out and we were questioning before the game, okay, is he going to be able to throw the ball? We know what he can do with his legs, but he was solid throughout and the defense certainly helped him. But you got to give props to Strevler what he did in this game.
Yeah, and Chris Strevler, we've talked about it. He's beloved by his teammates, and the backup quarterback is usually loved by the fans as well. But Chris Strevler is loved by his teammates. He's a true leader on this team, and that is really difficult for a backup quarterback, to be a leader on the team. And what we asked him, I think, or what we questioned and what his team wanted to see from him tonight is, could he make enough throws when he needed to lead this team? And the answer, fellas, absolutely. Chris Strevler, when he needed to, made throws on time, key second downs, key throws like this on time to Nick Dembski in the end zone. That, to me, we're not going to anoint Chris Strevler as the next great pocket passer in this game, but Chris Strevler answered every question that the Bombers wanted, every question we asked. Pre-game, impressive performance.
Right? Absolutely. Another impressive football player was Matthew Peterson. You know, he gets thrown into the game, Peterson, and Brady Oliveira gets hurt. So, hey, what do? First-year player out of Alberta. He was traded from the Ticats to the Bombers. Has an outstanding day. Watch him cut the weak arm right here on the safety and make the play. Over 100 yards. Was a spectacular start for the young player. And listen, don't forget that Brady Oliveira is a national. So you replace him with another national, he's sitting here saying, Matthew's saying, I am your answer. Do not take somebody else. Don't bring somebody else on the roster. I can do what you need at the tailback position, and you don't miss a beat. Sometimes people are worried about, oh, we'll put the next guy in, we'll take somebody else. He showed up this week.
The game plan did not change.
Didn't change at all, can run the football. And he blocked really well tonight.
And they did well offensively, but let's be real. If you want to end up in the Grey Cup, which I know all of them do, as well as the fans, they got to have a great defense, because that's the only way you get to the game, the big game, and hopefully win it as well. But you held Nathan Rourke to 240, 50 yards, around there, yards. Last week, he had 324 yards, and he came down this week, and he couldn't even do too much this week. And so you got to give credit to this defense. Tony Jones, who we don't talk enough about at the middle of this defense, replacing Big Hill. We don't talk too much about him, but he was all over the field. Gramdy, extremely active tonight. And, of course, Willie Jefferson. Didn't get too many sacks, but he was bothering Nathan Rourke all night long. We saw him getting out of the pocket. He was not comfortable. And who was the beneficiary? Marquise Bridges.
It's a celebration, Bridges.
And he was the one that was able to get his hands on the ball at least a couple of times. So
how many times do you guys practice that?
Quite a bit.
Nice.
We got plenty of time to do it again.
You know, the great part is, I mean, they play again next week, so fingers crossed. Here we go, back to back.
And how about the Bombers? 18-1. after a bye. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's a good football team. Anyone who wants to count out the Winnipeg Blue Bombers,
no.
Not a good idea.
Well, let's just hang on to. I mean, it is game 1 for the Bombers. Maybe this is a little overreaction, but a tremendous start for the BC Lions. Some things to clean up ahead of their rematch next week as we send it back.
Thanks, Kate. Here's TSN's Britt Dort with Chris Strebler.
Chris, 9 months ago, you didn't know what the future of your football career was going to look like. So to be here tonight as the starting quarterback of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in front of a sold-out crowd, home opener, you get the win. What are you feeling in this moment?
Just an emotional day, kind of a roller coaster of reflecting on what it's taken to get back here and then locking in and being out here with, my teammates, guys that I love going to battle with, and just playing three-phase football and getting a win, man. What a way to start the season, and I'm just thankful for this opportunity today. I'm thankful to be on a team with dudes that I love.
Well, these guys, you talked about it, how you built confidence with them, having training camp, having that preseason game, and it showed tonight. What did you like about the way your offense responded to you?
Just everyone making their plays, and I think we can still clean some things up, which is the exciting part. But balls going to guys, and then making plays. Matt stepping up, having a great game. The offensive line doing what they do, leaning on people. Man, it's just great to see. It's great to be back, and it's a great start to the year.
Well, how can you build on it when you know you're facing the same squad next week?
That's the league we're in, right? You play guys back to back, and so, like I said, this was a good game, a good win, but there's things we can do better. There's things we can clean up, and that's just the nature of the game. You enjoy this one for 24, you watch the film tomorrow, how can we get better? And let's implement that next week in practice and try to come out firing.
Well, congrats on getting the win in front of your baby girl tonight.
She's asleep, so I'll tell her about it in the morning.
Have a good one.
Awesome.
All right, here's what we have for the rest of the week to schedule in the Canadian Football League on TSN. Alouettes and Red Blacks, Friday Night Football. Looking forward to that one. And then the doubleheader on Saturday, Stampeders against the Argonauts, Rough Riders against the Tiger Cats. That doubleheader begins at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Edmonton wins Game 4. The highlights and the reaction right after this. Imagine my surprise when FanDuel made the Blue Bombers home underdogs for their season-opening game against the BC Lions on Thursday night. Nathan Rourke's stellar performance in a Week 1 win over Edmonton seems to have caught everyone's attention. Very sad moment before the game, a moment of silence for Chase Stiegel, who passed away last week. He was the son of former Blue Bomber and TSN analyst Milt Stiegel. Chase Stiegel was just 20 years old. Chris Strebler getting the start with Zach Collaros serving a one-game suspension for failing to respond to an off-season drug test request. Winnipeg's opening drive, Strebler hands it off to Brady Oliveira. He'll take it 43 yards down to the 20. But bad news, Oliveira played just one more snap before leaving the game with an upper body injury. He did not return. Now, Winnipeg scored on the next play. We go to the third quarter, 18-10 Blue Bombers. Strebler to Carrick Wheatfall. By the way, Wheatfall's a great name for a football player playing on the prairies. He gets it in for the touchdown, capping a 6-play, 108-yard drive. But Nathan Rourke had an answer on the Lions' next play. Here's Dustin Nielsen on the call.
Rourke has to step up in the pocket, looking for a response to Hatcher, and he's got it! Are you kidding me? He'll get it to the 20, down to the 10, looking for the end zone, got it! Oh my goodness, what is happening? What a response from Rourke and Hatcher!
Nathan Rourke, a 77-yard pass to Keon Hatcher for the TD, and it's a one-score game in Winnipeg. We go to the fourth, still a one-score game. Strebler to Nick Dembski. Corner of the end zone. What a beautiful throw. That's Dembski's second TD of the night. It's the third for Strebler. Winnipeg up 34-20. Then just over 8 minutes left. Rourke throws and then goes down on one knee. He already went to the medical tent earlier with an ankle injury. Now it's an oblique injury. He was replaced by Jeremiah Masoli for the rest of the game. But Winnipeg takes their opener 34-20.
The way I was throwing it, and I couldn't throw it. Thought it was better for the team if I took myself out at that point. So because I just wasn't able to generate enough power on the ball. So I don't know what it is. I'm glad we're on a long week, so hopefully we'll be able to go next week. I'm optimistic, but yeah, we'll see what it is and go from there.
Just an emotional day, kind of a roller coaster of reflecting on what it's taken to get back here, and then locking in and being out here with, my teammates, guys that I love going to battle with.
Well, congrats on getting the win in front of your baby girl tonight.
She's asleep, so I'll tell her about it in the morning.
Well, we've got 3 more CFL games on TSN this weekend. Friday night football, 7 Eastern Friday night. Owls in Ottawa to face the Red Blacks. Ottawa quarterback Drew Brown has been ruled out of this one. Saturday, we've got a doubleheader beginning with the Stamps and Argos at 4, followed by the Riders in Hamilton to take on the Habbies at 7. The Boatmen searching for their first win. The Stamps won in Week 1. The Tabbies began last season 0-5 after losing Week 1. They're hoping to get back to 500. Still ahead on the show.